Hi, Greg McAfee here from McAfee Heating and Air. Dayton and the Miami Valley enjoy buying products made in the USA. Unfortunately, many HVAC products are now made in the communist country of China, and that's where the profits go too. McAfee systems come from the states of Indiana, South Carolina, Iowa, and Texas, and we're proud of it. 32 years strong. Get an estimate online at mcair.com.
Don't go through another year with awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics right now and make 2024 the year you are back to living life normal again. Hey, it's Keith Byers. QC Kinetics can give you your life back. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. These are all natural treatments that can repair and restore that damaged tissue, giving you pain-free movement again. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients around the country. People who had knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, who were able to get lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. If you have pain from an old injury or pain associated with arthritis, you need to check this out. The future of medicine is here. Regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics. Make the call now so you can get the most out of 2024. Get back to doing what you love. And don't forget, you can use your HSA or FSA funds. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
If any of our listeners are stand-up comedians and have a good joke to put a smile on my man Kev Nash's face over here, 518-1410, that's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. I'm not going to lie. I'm afraid of Kev today. I had to, there's just some days where I can't wait to have an opposite take of Kev, and then today I felt like I had to put a disclaimer out there because Kev is not in the mood for any BS today.
Definitely not in the mood.
Not in the mood.
Not
so no BS today. I need to bring my BS down a bit today. Is that what you're today? Not the day. Not the day. Yeah.
Too soon. Too soon. No. In all seriousness, look, man. I had like this whole thing kind of like written up on my phone that I was gonna read on the air and all that type of stuff. I'm gonna just speak honestly here, man.
Ooh.
Not good coffee.
No, that was an old cup.
Got time?
That was not the cup I poured. Let's reset. My bad. Continue.
No, you're good.
Ugh.
So, like I said, I had this like thing written out. So rewind everybody to Sunday. Obviously, people on the show know, obviously, first and foremost, I'm an Ohio State fan, but I also root very heavily for Florida State. I like Florida State. Been a Florida State fan since Charlie Ward. Brother brought me a Charlie Ward jersey in the 6th grade. Been a fan ever since. So the rankings come out. It goes Michigan 1, Washington 2, Texas 3. And at that moment, I knew Florida State was out. For sure, I knew they were out. And I'm sure we'll get into it more as we go throughout the show. But Bama goes at number 4. At that moment, click, off goes the TV. There was no sports for me yesterday. There was no social media for me yesterday. Didn't get a chance to see my Steelers lose to the Cardinals. Didn't see any of the things that went on with LeBron and the coach from the Rockets. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear any podcasts. I didn't hear any ESPN until probably about noon today is when I kind of like tapped back into the world. Trying not to get us a FCC fine here today. I'm going to do my best to use proper language, but for lack of a better word, I was and still am very pissed off. For me, and the biggest thing that frustrates me about this whole situation with Florida State being left out the college football Final Four is that, it's not the fact that Alabama got in. That makes me upset too. It's not the fact that they're 13-0 conference champion, Power 5, all that stuff. All that stuff makes me angry. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in depth later. But it's the fact that casuals have more say-so than what actually happens on the field. I can't tell you from noon until about 2:30 how much I saw on social media and on ESPN and all the other talk shows out there is they wanted to put a good product on TV. They wanted to put a good product on TV. They want to put a good product on TV. Blame TCU for this. Blame TCU for that. Blame this for that. Look, man, if the games aren't going to count, then we shouldn't play. We should simply say who had the best recruiting rankings, who does Vegas think is going to win this game, and then roll those teams out there and play the games as opposed to playing the football games. Absolutely, it sucks that Jordan Travis broke his ankle and that, he's not out there to play. Are they a different team? Absolutely. But the key word here is team. Team. Jordan Travis has not made a tackle this season. Jordan Travis has not caught a pass this season. Jordan Travis has not kicked the extra point. He has not punted the ball. All those facets of a team actually matter. And we could argue about if it would be celebrated if a team from a different conference did this or did that. I want to celebrate the fact that they were able to go on the road to their biggest rival in the University of Florida and win a game with the backup quarterback. And then a neutral site game, win a conference championship with their third string quarterback, who was going to be an Ohio State quarterback. They actually were able to flip him to Florida State. Something that Florida State was able to accomplish since Jordan Travis broke his ankle. 36 drives, 1 touchdown given up by the defense. Defense is a part of this too. It is not simply quarterback. If it's quarterback, then we should just go out here and play 7-on-7, or we should have a skills competition. It's a team game. And the fact that those guys didn't get the opportunity to play for the national championship is sad for the sport. It's sad for sports in general. And it's just sad. And I can honestly say that I take in way too much college football. I love college football. I watch Tuesday night action. I watch Mountain West games on Saturdays. I love college football in general, and probably way too much. I could probably think outside of my family, a good nap, and my sneaker collection, there's not a thing that I love more than college football. But at this point, I'm not saying I'm done on college football, because that would be a lie, but definitely taking a step back to reevaluate how much passion, how much of me I'm going to give to a sport that isn't going to give it back. And it doesn't matter about what happens. Would I be saying the same thing if this happened to a different team? Probably not. I would be mad. I would be disappointed. You and I were on the air and we debated the UC thing till we were blue in the face. And hey man, they won the games and winning matters. I said the same thing about TCU. Like, look, man, you got to put them in, give them a shot. And ultimately, they got their shot and they beat Michigan, and then they got blew out by Georgia. But how many other teams have been blew out by Georgia? Lots of them. We can go back and look at this. I mean, Ohio State got into the college football playoff before, and they got beat 31-0. So, like, we've seen powerful programs, name programs with their starting quarterbacks go out there and get blown out. So I just don't understand the fact that, the mighty Alabama gets to go in there after a Hail Mary victory over Auburn, struggling versus UCF. And mind you, this is the same team they had all season. I just don't get it. I'm not happy. I'll be perfectly honest. I got a dentist appointment tomorrow, so I'm not going to be on tomorrow's show. I thought about calling my dentist and having him reschedule it to today, because I'll be wondering with y'all. I don't want to be here. I don't want to talk about this. This angers me. It disappoints me. I'm not happy at all. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to joke, but I'm just not happy. I'm going to keep it a bean. I'm just not happy with this whole situation. So I could only imagine my feelings if this happened to Ohio State, because I'm mad, but I know I could be madder.
So here's, from the very beginning, the problem with all, I'm taking these out.
Not working for you?
No, but these are free headphones from the airplane, and they
get what you pay for.
Operate like free. Yeah, they just, it sounds bad, but no. So here's the problem. And again, this is easier for me to have a hot take on because my team's not involved in this, right? Like you said, like you're coming at this from a different angle because of the fact that you're emotionally attached to the team that was wronged by the committee. But here's the thing about the committee. This was a dummy-proof system that was set up from 2014 to now. And what I mean is they have a way out for every decision that they make. There's not a set, like a lot of the things that we keep talking about. So I say this all the time. I said this yesterday when the reveal happened, when I heard KB's initial reaction and all this. There is not a rule out there. Like, we have made up what we believe the rules should be. Now, I'm not saying you for say, because I've done it too when I'm defending my team's honor, like Ohio State. This year, they didn't give us much to stand on, but in years past, when I'm defending their honor of why they should make it, even with one loss, yada, yada. But we fall into the trap of, we say things like, well, winning should matter. Well, they're undefeated. Well, they're conference champions. And there is not one spot in any of the criteria breakdown where any of those things mean more than another talking point. And that's, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that's how they've made it okay to make any decision they want, because everything is very vague in the, in that. I'm going to put my headphones back in so Kirk Herbstreit's come under a lot of fire because, here's the thing too. These media personalities, they're a lot more visible out and about right now. They're doing like a lot of these podcasts and stuff where they're not your set radio or TV type setups. So they're a little bit more loose and they're a little bit more aggressive with their takes. And he basically was very aggressive about the Florida State thing, even last week before we knew what was going to happen over the weekend. He didn't want to see Florida State in there without Jordan Travis. And it should be, he goes from a selfish perspective. It's about, the games. I'd rather call Alabama and whatever matchup it was that he said. So since then, he went on the Pat McAfee show earlier today, and he was being criticized a lot. And he was responding to this saying, first of all, ESPN, we have no pull over who gets in and who doesn't. These are just our takes. But he went on to kind of explain the breakdown of the criteria. But there's one key phrase that he uses in this. And I'm not here defending the committee. I'm basically just saying, we're all falling for the trap of, we think that there are set rules to this. They're imaginary. There's no rule, unfortunately, that says, well, if you're an undefeated conference champion, you're automatically in. That rule doesn't exist. We have just regurgitated that a lot, and we think that matters, and it doesn't matter to the committee, or it does when it fits what they want to do. They move the goalposts around a lot. But here's Kirk Herbstreit on the Pat McAfee show just earlier this afternoon talking about the criteria and how it was explained to him and how it was implemented with the layout of the teams that were involved with just this past Sunday.
So what you look at is conference championship. All those teams except Georgia were conference champions. They look at strength of schedule. This is the second thing. I'm reading it right off the list. Conference championship, strength of schedule, head-to-head competition is another thing. Comparative outcomes with a common opponent. None of these are weighted more than the other. And the last thing is other relevant factors, such as unavailability of key players or coaches that may have affected a team's performance during the season, or likely will affect its postseason performance. That's where to me, that's what separated these teams.
So the one thing he said were none of those factors were weighted more than others. And that is true. And that's their get out of jail free card. That's why, not saying I don't care about your feelings don't matter. Norvell's feelings don't matter. Every player in that Florida State locker room, because we didn't break any rules. We used our vague criteria to justify keeping you out. And that's the thing that I've just been sitting back saying, this was a genius setup from the beginning on their end, because it's for one, I've always said this before. If you had aliens come from outer space and they said, explain to us college football, we're so conditioned to just accepting what the rules are that we would just explain it like, yeah, so then if you go undefeated and win your conference championship, you're pretty much a shoo-in, especially if you're a Power 5 and all that. But if I'm not from the world and you're explaining to me this, I'd be like, this is the dumbest thing ever. You have all these teams who don't have the same budgets, who you're telling the teams like Bowling Green and Miami of Ohio, you're Division I, but you technically have zero shot of ever making a 14 playoff. And let's be clear, probably 0% shot of ever making the 12-team playoff. But they're Division I. They're technically looked at as the same as an Ohio State or an Alabama. No, they're not. But I mean, yes, technically, like, college football, college athletics is such a dumb setup, but we've been conditioned to be a fan since we were such a young age. We don't really question these things as much anymore. So when we sit here and say, well, this isn't fair, there's no such thing as a fair playoff system out there. The 12 team, we don't know what holes are in that yet. A year from now, we're going to figure out what those holes are, and we're going to be complaining just as passionately about this as we are now with the 12 team, because there's going to be some things in there that we haven't even come across yet that we're like, wait, this is silly. So I'm not defending what the committee did yesterday, but I will say there are just as many fair talking points to support Alabama being in over Florida State, mainly because they left it so open. They technically broke no rules. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but like I said, and then you look at the fact Alabama, they beat Georgia. 3 straight years of not losing the game, and they are a 3 straight year dynasty, national champions, looking to make it 3 straight. Number one, you beat them. They have better wins, their strength of schedule, all of that stuff. The hypocrisy of scheduling tough in the non-con. It mattered for one team. It didn't matter for the other. You can argue that loss to Texas helped them more than the win over LSU for Florida State, right? You could even talk about conference championships, the hypocrisy of conference championships. Georgia played a conference championship game, and they went from number 1 in the country, back-to-back national champions, not losing a game all season, to out of the playoff picture. Florida State, they win their conference championship. That should matter, right? And it didn't matter. Conference championships don't matter. Being undefeated doesn't matter.
It mattered when Ohio State 59-0 over Wisconsin when the Big 12 didn't have a championship game. I said this. I believe we were. You were working here. I said this when we were talking about it way back then. Like, if that was Texas or Oklahoma as opposed to TCU and Baylor, Ohio State would have been left out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is sitting at the cool kids table. That's what this boils down to. Are you at the cool kids table? And the fact that Florida State last week was at the number 4 spot, Texas was down at 7, and they jumped to 3
with the win over a bad team
over Oklahoma State, who was I guess they would probably be on equal footing as Louisville. So you're able to jump from 7 to 3, even though the team that was in 4 won versus a like-minded opponent. And then obviously Alabama, they beat Georgia, the number 1 team in the country. They jumped from 8 to 4. So it's gymnastics that's occurring here that really leaves a team out that could have competed for a chance and the opportunity. And, it kind of goes against everything that you ever learn when you're a kid, when you're playing sports. It's super cliche. You play to win the game. You give your all for your team. You do all this type of stuff. It's no I in team, all that type of stuff. But when they riddle it down to quarterback's not playing, can't be. But I thought this was a team thing. I thought this was a team accomplishment. So everything that this team did from week 1 to winning their conference championship, all 13 weeks, doesn't matter because one individual isn't out there. Also, the committee guy talked about they never took into account while handling the Michigan situation with Harbaugh not being on the sidelines. So, like, wait, you're going to bring it into account for him, but you're not going to bring it into account for the head coach. Like I said, or like you said, they pick and choose when they want to implement whatever rule that they want. Strength of schedule matters, except for now. Oh, yeah, head-to-head, it matters, except for now. So LSU, Florida State beat them 45-24. Bama beat them 42-28 after Jaden Daniels got knocked out in the third quarter because, so, like these things just don't add up to me. So, like I said before, I can ramble on and on and on and on about this situation. Not happy with it, but for lack of a better word, it is what it is.
With the Harbaugh thing, but can't you make the argument that
they did
that Harbaugh's absence didn't impact them though? But we've seen 2 games without Jordan Travis in that like they were not the same offensive team. That's being used against them. Like,
they definitely aren't the same offensive team. They definitely aren't the same offensive team.
I'm not.
No, you're fine. Absolutely. I mean,
it
ain't even. You saw the game. They were averaging like 45 points a game with him in there. They only scored like 26 against Florida, 16 against Louisville. Yeah, they're definitely not the same offensive team. But yeah, like that's why you have bowl prep. Like they act like the true freshman was going to be the starter in the playoff game. The backup was going to be back. And when the backup had opportunity to play this season, he played pretty good football. So you're punishing the team. You found your way to punish the team, and you got what you wanted. They got what they wanted. They wanted to have Alabama in there. Alabama, I mean, you definitely could make the argument that they deserve to be in there. I'm not going to sit here and act like they don't, but like they were put up against a decision to make. Like, well, Texas, you got to have Texas in there. Like, I think soon as Alabama beat Georgia, they were like, well, shoot, we got to have the SEC champ in there. Well, we can't leave out the team that beat the SEC champ. Let's see what they do. Let's see if they put up that 59 piece. And they were not able to do that. I may think it's wrong. A lot of people out there think it's wrong. But 13-0, man. 13-0. And it ain't like the schedule was like Cupcake City, man. Like, they played 2 SEC teams. They played LSU. They played Florida. Like, It wasn't like they scheduled cupcakes the entire season, and they obviously won their conference. They went on the road to beat Clemson, the only team to beat Clemson at Clemson in the last 2 years. Like, all those things have to matter. And one of the other things that really frustrates me is people talk about, obviously, Georgia being back-to-back champions and how much respect you have to put on their continued winning streak. You know, us had a long winning streak. Florida State's up to 19 games in a row dating back to last year. It seems like those wins don't even account for anything. I don't think that all the stuff that they did can go on unseen and unheard. Like, they got guys that are going to be drafted in the first round just like these other teams as well. They pushed Bama in there over Florida State because they wanted to, because they could.
So here's where we're going to step away for a few moments. When we come back, I think we're all pissed at the wrong team. I think I called KB out on this on his show earlier. He was pissed off about Alabama. And I said, I think our bias is showing. That our anti-SEC bias is showing. I think Alabama deserves to be in. I think what it should have been coming down to was Florida State versus Texas. I think Texas is why are we getting mad at the Alabama win-loss team and not the Texas win-loss team, who there's way many more flaws in their resume technically. I mean, their one loss. I mean, Alabama's one loss is against a team that the committee told you was the number 3 team in the country, right? Mm-hmm. Well, Texas's only loss is a team that wasn't even sniffing the playoffs and didn't even play in their conference championship. I feel like Texas is getting a pass. They're sitting over there just like, we're back, and they're doing hook 'em horns and all this. So let's step away for a few moments. I want to get your take on that. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm here to tell you, conference championships, while everyone's saying how much they matter, they don't matter. The committee has been telling us, no matter, even though they're the biggest thing that they've the number one talking point that I think that they've been the biggest hypocrite on from the very, very beginning has been conference championships. The undefeated thing, I will listen to that argument all day. The argument about the ACC champion, I will not listen to, because mainly the committee has told us they act like they care about conference championships. But I have, look at this, Kev, look at this list of all the examples of all the BS. And I'm going to have this for everyone when we come back. This is all the hypocrisy of the committee. That I have like a laundry list here of stuff that the committee, although they say conference championships matter, I have over 10 examples of that's being a lie. Conference championships don't matter. So we'll talk about that when we come back. And by the way, I know you're pissed off and you're upset, but the 12-team playoff sucks. The games will be awesome, but this feeling, I don't love seeing Kev upset, but I love that this emotion exists because of the 14 playoff. You know, in the 12 team, everyone gets a participation trophy playoff, and we'd all be waking up today like, oh, well, okay, Ohio State's in, Florida State's in, everyone's happy, kumbaya, yada, yada, yada. All right, Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Or online at lanceroofing.com.
Frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits, a $25 Frickers gift card, and get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. Let them get what they really want.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
This is Keith Byers for Superbook Sports. You spend valuable time thinking about which bets to place each week. So why wouldn't you want the best company in the business to be the one who handles those bets? Superbook Sports is the most trusted name in Las Vegas, and it's now live right here in Ohio for all your sports wagering needs. Superbook has a team of dedicated odds makers behind the counter in Las Vegas setting all the prices. We're talking about guys with decades of experience showing you why Superbook has the best odds around. And right now, you can look ahead to hockey and hoops postseason and place a bet on who you think will take home the title. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-589-9966. Call 1-800-589-9966. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-589-9966. Call 1-800-589-9966.
At the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission, we help veterans and their dependents navigate the process of applying for benefits administered by the VA. We can assist with VA claims, pensions, and a variety of benefits, including emergency financial assistance, transportation, and legal services. If you are a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, a wide range of services may be available to you, always at no cost to the veteran. We are honored and proud to serve all Miami Valley veterans. Contact us today at 937-225-4801.
Boost Infinite's new wireless technology switches between networks for the best service at a lower price. Switch today. Go to Amazon.com and search for Boost iPhone 15 today.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
A holiday message from Jackson Hewitt.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to get money the same day.
Starting December 11th, walk into a Jackson Hewitt for an early loan on your tax refund, and you could walk out with up to $1,000.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to get money. Missing out would be great.
Appointments go fast. Book yours now at jacksonhewitt.com. Early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about the perfect holiday gifts $25 and under? Like matching family PJs, fragrance sets, toys, and more. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at a Macy's Backstage near you.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. All right, we opened up the show. An instant reaction to the rankings, the final college football playoff rankings that were revealed yesterday. Michigan, the number 1 team in the country, will take on the 4th seed, the number 4 team in the country, of course, Alabama. And then you'll have Texas against Washington. Look, and so what's led to all the controversy today was the fact that there was a lot of firsts this year. For one, I've been saying, we say all the time, Kev, hey, it always sorts itself out, right? Everything's going to sort itself out. It didn't sort it out this year. And I've been screaming for years that, just once, and of course it's at the expense of your team, so my bad, but just once, I want the committee to have to make a ballsy decision, a tough decision. I want them to have to be uncomfortable. I want them to face the backlash like what they're facing today. I just want that. And I'm glad it finally happened. On the last year, the 4th team, before we go to everyone gets a participation trophy playoff starting next year, the 4th team was designed. The 4-team playoff was supposed to create this every year, chaos. I'm surprised that Florida State, like in the 9 years of existence, like I know everyone says the system's broken, but let's be clear. There's only been one victim the entire 9-year run, maybe 2 if you count TCU from the first year, right? I think that Florida State, and unfortunately it's Kev's team, but unfortunately Florida State is the first victim of the 4-team college football playoff. Because when we say it always sorts itself out, it always has. In fact, to the point to where we're supposed to wake up excited on Selection Sunday, and we're like, we already know who the 4 teams are going to be. They'll try to maybe give you a couple what-if scenarios. Well, what if the committee's been drinking the night before and they were a little crazy and decided to put this team in? None of that. This was tough. We knew it was going to be, and to be honest, it could have been worse. Oregon could have won and created a scenario there. Alabama won. Obviously, that created a mess here. Texas won. All that fun stuff. What if Iowa would have done something crazy and even forced that Michigan only win by 1 possession or something wild? The bottom line is 8 teams headed into the final week of the regular season with a realistic shot of making the playoff. 8 teams. All right, those 8 teams, if you think about going into that last week of the regular season, Florida State out of the ACC, of course, Washington, Oregon out of the Pac-12, Texas in the Big 12, but Michigan, Ohio State, and then Georgia, Bama. 8 teams heading into the final week of the regular season. Usually it was, well, keep an eye on 1 or 2 of these matchups that'll have a huge, fallout of the playoff and yada, yada. So the one thing that we talked about too is, and I keep hearing a lot of this, how can you keep an undefeated conference champion out? We keep going back to that. I keep hearing a lot of, well, the games have to matter on the field. I think that the games did matter. They do, but the games the games on the field for Alabama mattered for them. I think all the games matter, but I do know what you're saying. I know what people are saying. Hey, they won. They didn't lose a game. Those games have to matter. But we also have those factors of the strength of schedule and all of that. And a lot of, Alabama, having the number 3 or number 4 in the country and in the 60s or whatever for Florida State, that played a role. The injury clause, and there is a clause, which is wild. Of course it's there too. At least they added it. They at least added it to the website. I don't know if it was there before. The only time we've ever talked injuries when it comes to this type of stuff is okay, this team had a loss because they're like, for instance, of Texas. I remember last year when Texas lost to Alabama. They were beating Alabama. In fact, if Quinn Ewers doesn't go out, Texas beats Alabama last year too, right? And then they ended up losing that game. If Texas would have run the table last year, we kept hearing, the committee, Kev, they'll not give a pass, but they will consider the fact that the reason they lost to Alabama was because of the fact that Quinn Ewers went out injured, and they'll consider that. We've always heard about that angle of a team losing a game because their player was out. But I've never heard of until this year of the clause that's in there that says the committee can use the talking points of the fact that a star player, a key player, and we all know that's key player. If a wide receiver, if Ohio State was in their position and Marvin Harrison's out, they're not keeping Ohio State out. But if the quarterback is, even crappy old Kyle McCord, no offense, and he's no longer a Buckeye quarterback at all, I think it's because the talent of Jordan Travis was used against him. You know what I mean? Like,
so he's gonna win the Heisman on Saturday, right?
So that's how that works, right?
I mean, according to them.
But let me ask you this: if JJ McCarthy, I don't think he's played very solid quarterback position. I don't think he's elite. If JJ McCarthy has a season-ending injury against Ohio State, are they keeping Michigan out of the playoff?
No,
and he's nowhere near the talent of him. But they'll say the full team thing. The one thing about Florida State that I will say, we don't talk about their defense enough. It was all about the quarterback. JJ McCarthy is so vanilla, so dull, so boring, and a cheater that we don't talk about. I'm joking. No, I'm not, kind of, but I'm trying to loosen the mood, Kev. I just feel the vibe. No, but we talk about the Michigan, the defense, this, that, the other. Statistically, Florida State's defense is just as good. I don't think Michigan's offense is that explosive. You want to talk about style points, they're just as dull and boring, but they put up the heavy points, right? It's just, again, the moving of the goalpost by the committee to justify the decisions that they've made. Book Oregon, the head of the College Football Playoff Committee, was asked immediately after the final rankings were revealed what went into picking Alabama over Florida State.
Florida State is a different team than they were through the first 11 weeks. Coach Norvell, their players, their fans, an incredible season. But as you look at who they are as a team right now, without Jordan Travis, without the offensive dynamic that he brings to it, they are a different team. And the committee voted Alabama 4 and Florida State 5.
They are a different team, he says.
They are. Absolutely, they are. But it's a team. It's a team, like you talked about with the defense. Like, that defense has been lights out pretty much all season. Outside of, like, that Boston College third quarter where they gave up, like, 35 points out of nowhere in the blink of an eye, they've been lights out. And then when you need it most, when your Heisman caliber quarterback goes out, what happened? 36 drives, 1 touchdown. 36 drives, 1 touchdown. 1 touchdown in 3 games. 1 touchdown in 3 games. They stepped their game up even more because it's a team and you have to do what you have to do to win the game. Talk about running the Wildcat because, hey, man, we can't generate anything. You make adjustments on the sidelines. I was listening to the post game from Coach Norvell. It's like we weren't generating enough offense. We went Wildcat. We haven't run Wildcat since year 1 when we couldn't generate any offense. When they were like 3-6 the first year, that's when they were running a Wildcat like crazy because they couldn't do anything else. They reverted back to that to generate offense. You do what you have to do to win the game. When this happened, and I started hearing all of them talk about it, I reverted back to our conversation about the Pittsburgh Steelers and how they're winning on defense. They're winning on defense. Yeah, they're winning on defense. Like, and we both said, like, the only thing that matters seemingly is offense. But it's 3 facets to the game. The point is to win the game. You got to do whatever you got to do to win the game. And they were able to do that in those last 3 games of the regular season. And it just wasn't enough in the committee's eyes to say, like, all right, you deserve to be in. Your defense isn't the 85 Bears, so you don't get to go. So I don't know, man. Like, I just think that the players were robbed of an opportunity because, I mean, the committee knows all, right? Vegas knows all, right? I hit multiple parlays over the weekend, which I rarely ever do, by the way, but I hit multiple parlays over the weekend. Also, Washington was a 9-point underdog. They won. Bama was an underdog. They won. Miami of Ohio was an underdog to Toledo. They won. Arizona Cardinals were an underdog to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They won. So, like, the fact that, like, well, Vegas thinks that you'll be an underdog, that's why you shouldn't be in there. That's laughable. We see this happen all the time. Every single weekend, underdogs win. Michigan was favored over TCU last year. TCU won. I mean, I don't know, like, how that can play a part in determining who should and shouldn't be able to go. They did everything in their power to go to the college football playoff. I'm a firm believer. I'm not like the biggest conspiracy theorist person out there. Like, oh man, they are out to get us. They are trying to, push the narrative but it's evident when it's certain people talking about certain conferences and certain teams. You never hear Paul Feinbaum waving the flag for any other team or conference besides the team from the SEC. And this started on November 5th after Alabama took care of business versus LSU, because after that, it was like, oh man, should be smooth sailing. They got past Ole Miss, they got past Tennessee, they got past LSU. All they got to do is take care of their bum rival Auburn, and then, hey man, they go to the SEC championship and win that. Then, oh man, do you get 2 SEC teams? And then I don't care that they're a 13-year conference champion. Like, a person that sways public opinion talking like that on TV is going to sway the public opinion and the committee's opinion. And then you have Desmond Howard. Unless they go 59-0, they're out. Another person that sways public opinion. Then you got Joel Klatt. Texas or even Ohio State is better than them. I mean, I'm a Buckeye fan through and through, no doubt about it. But I can't put in the Buckeyes if they're not playing. If they're not playing in the conference championship game, you can't jump somebody if you're not playing unless they lose. But they did lose. They won. And then you got Herb Street. I don't care about right and wrong. Like, listen to that. I don't care about right and wrong. Then what are we doing this for? If we're not doing it for the wins and losses, if we're not caring about right and wrong, then we shouldn't. Then everybody else can have it. Y'all can have it.
Yep.
Y'all can have it then. If we're not going to just do what's right and wrong. I'll go to the NFL and watch the NFL because even though I love college football more than the NFL, at least they do it right. At least it's done by, hey, man, if you win, you're in. And the story tells itself. College football is trying to tell a story, you don't need to do this. You don't need to try to create a product. The product is there. The product is the game. It's not the talking heads. And I heard Stephen A. with the most bogus, stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life about they wouldn't did that to Coach Deion Sanders. Look, let's be clear. Maybe they would have, maybe they wouldn't. But if that would have happened, that would have even been even more laughable. And I shouldn't be surprised considering this country voted for somebody that was on reality TV to be the president. If that's what we are in college football, I'm good. Cool, fine. Now that I know that, so anybody that listens to this program and likes to hear like my off the wall insight and things that I read or things that I saw like on a late night watch and stuff like that, you're no longer going to hear that from me. You're no longer going to hear that from me because I can't be invested in a sport that isn't on the up and up. You know, we hear all this talk about, oh man, the NBA is rigged. The NBA is this, the NBA is that. They want LeBron to do this. They want these teams to meet in the finals. Oh man, that was a foul. That was a flop. That's what college football is now. You might as well get ready for it because the regular season doesn't matter. Wins and losses doesn't matter. I mean, shoot, home court advantage in the NBA doesn't matter. LeBron said it a million times. As long as I get in the tournament, I'm good. Like, that's how this sport is about to be. So if for people that have loved the BCS era and love the college football playoff era, this 12-team playoff era is about to totally change your viewpoint on things. And like I said before, the passion that I have for college football is no longer there, and probably should have been like this for quite some time. But it took this magnitude for me to say, you know what? I'll watch the Buckeyes. I'll watch Florida State, but me being totally invested in everything else that's going on. So don't come to me asking me my thoughts. Hey, man, what do you think about the Bama LSU game? Don't know. Didn't watch. Me and the wife went to the movies. Hey, man, what do you think about the Hawaii Boise State game? Have no idea. Didn't watch. Hey, man, what do you think about that quarterback from Nevada, man? Heard he's supposed to be pretty good. Have you seen him? Nope, haven't watched. So, like, that's where I am with it. And it sucks. It sucks because I truly, truly do love the game of college football and the fact that it's not about what it's supposed to be about. And it's not necessarily about all the pageantry, the da-da-da. No, the real part, the actual winning and losses, the actual games that are played. So any high school coach out there that's coaching their kids, everything like that, just know that's the purity. The pure part is in high school and in the NFL. The middle part, the college part, it's not the pure part. It's not about the wins and losses. It's about popularity. And, oh, hey, man, they wouldn't do that to Coach Prime. I mean, you're just Coach Norvell, just the coach that just went 13-0. And the fact that Coach Prime is getting more pub, and because he's Coach Prime, because he's a Hall of Fame player, they went 4-6, 4-6, 4-6, 13-0. Laughable.
So, for one, that Stephen A. I saw that too. And I know the point he's trying to make, like, you wouldn't do that to Nick Saban. They just did it to Kirby Smart, who just won back-to-back national championships and was undefeated. So I disagree with that. I know what he's trying to say. Like, sometimes you need to have a boss CEO that's in there that's, you know, hey, look at me. You ain't gonna do that to me.
Right.
Oh, I just did that SNL skit. That's not what I was trying to do. But no, like that Nick Saban, like, hey, you're gonna look me in my eye and tell me we're not it. Like, sometimes you got to be. There's a reason that Nick Saban, who's been doing the Pat McAfee show all season, but there's a reason that he agrees to do every ESPN and Fox and every hit he can, especially heading in. He's politicking for his team. I will say this: Urban Meyer was horrible at that. He would tick me off big time when we'd get to that weekend, and he was not. You couldn't see him anywhere. He wouldn't do any of those hits. Ryan Day's not very good at that either. I don't know why. Even though he didn't have a shot last year, Alabama didn't have a shot, right, to get in there, right? Nick Saban was at halftime of the Michigan Iowa Big Ten game. People were ticked off.
On the other network,
yeah. And he set that up. When you read about that, like Nick Saban said, where's Ryan Day? Why isn't he doing that? Even if you don't have a shot, plead your case. You know Alabama, you know the SEC, Nick Saban, they're going to do that. Here's where I think we're all wrong when it comes to college sports. We are acting shocked about stuff that we knew already existed. For instance, Florida State. I know what you're talking about, the team effort, but we knew, like, the NFL playoff, it's just about wins and losses. But it's not like that in college. It's about how you look doing it. So we bash Iowa all the time. Man, they're horrible offensively, but they're great defensively. We don't give them a pass. That is different because from a team that's undefeated, I completely get it. But Florida State, they did not come close to passing the eye test. They were hard to watch the last two. Great games, the way they fought in it. They held them off in the SEC champion or the ACC championship game. But the thing is, I think where your emotions are getting in the way of what you want college football to be versus what it actually is.
No. What sports are. That's what sports are. Sports are, but you play, you win. So if me and you go out and play pickup basketball and you win, that means Kenner wins. It doesn't mean like, oh, nah, I get to stay on the court, Kenner. What are you talking about? They told me I could.
That's not how college football works.
No. That's how sports are supposed to work. All the sports, from soccer to basketball to any sport out there. That's how it's supposed to work. So if this is not a sport, if this is, excuse me, wrestling fans out there, if this is WWE, let it be WWE. I will check out. I will take a step back. I will go to the farmer's market on a Saturday. I will go to the movies on a Saturday. I will do honey-do lists. I will cut my grass on a Saturday. If this is not real, if this isn't what it's supposed to be, if it's not actually competitive sports and the actual outcome actually mattering, then I'm good.
But I think it did matter. They were in position to still make it because they won. Like, my point is, college football, even before the playoff, though, it's always been about the eye test. It's always been about, like, Urban Meyer talked about it years ago. He even talked about that Big Ten championship game where Cardale Jones started. And he was concerned about that game continuing to go on. He goes, I didn't want to put 50 up that day. He goes, I just wanted to, a win should have just been enough to put us in there. Urban has criticized the fact that you have to blow out teams to impress everyone. That's why he would run up the score on teams not because he wanted to, you had to. And he goes, and by the way, he goes, it's great, you're scoring points, but you're also leaving guys out in games long that don't need to be out there in a meaningless game, and they risk getting injured and yada yada. So my point, like, we've always known that the style points matter. So we shouldn't be shocked that there was no style points without Jordan Travis that made it easy for them to make that decision. I'm with you. I get, but wins, like we've always known, even in college basketball, you gotta, well, they won and they have some net wins, but they're the net rank, but they only average in 64 points per game. They're not good offensively. We're not looking at them. We're looking at this team. The net, favors them, yada yada. That's unfortunate what college athletics has always been. I don't think this Florida State thing on how they were evaluated, it's not a new criteria. It's always been that way. We've just never seen a team run the table and be judged by those talking points. And that's what my point was earlier. There's not a thing in there that says if you're undefeated conference champion, you're automatically put in. And that's the pushback that I'm kind of giving here. It's like, we're making up rules as we go about, well, we're undefeated, we're conference champs, we should be in. But not all teams, not all records are created equal, especially when you have Alabama playing a tougher schedule than them and yada, yada. I'm not an SEC homer by any means. I see both sides of this. That's why I'm not having a hot take one way or another. I'm fine with Alabama being in, but I was arguing with someone on Twitter the other day. I'm fine with them being in. I just don't think the system's broken if Alabama gets in over them. Both teams' resumes are impressive. Both teams' resumes are beyond, impeccable to me. Even the loss to Texas, they lost, but the wins they have trump what they had, what Florida State had. Sorry, said Tennessee for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, look, even with Jordan Travis, do I think that on a neutral field that Alabama would probably be favored? Yeah. Would Washington be favored? Probably. Would Michigan be favored? Probably. Would Texas be favored? Probably. But we're allowing that to take over the actual wins and losses. And how can you put in, quote unquote, the best 4 teams? Because if we're going to talk about Jordan Travis being out and being injured, and that's the reason why you weren't voted into the top 4, then they shouldn't have been 5 either. They shouldn't have been 6. They shouldn't have been 7. They shouldn't have been ranked at all. They would have been down in the 15s and the 20s. If we're going to say oh man, he was that valuable to your team, y'all just missed it by 1. No, without him versus Georgia, they have no chance. Without him versus Ohio State, probably not a chance. So don't say oh man, you were guys who just this close.
I know, 5 is disrespectful.
Yeah. So even that, the week before, this is how we know this is made for TV. This is made for viewership. I say this all the time, even this show here. Everything that you watch, everything you ingest on the radio or TV is a built product for you to listen in 15 or watch in 15-minute segments. It's a TV show. It's a TV show. Now, the NFL has the best TV show going. They don't have to do stuff like this. They just play the game and let it roll. But in this situation, the week before, they're going to put them at 4 and have Texas at 7, Bama at 8. You saw Florida State with the backup quarterback versus Florida. Florida doesn't have a good defense. They barely put up 20-something points on Florida. But you left them at 4. You left them at 4 on purpose. So me and everybody else that lives in Tallahassee would tune in on Sunday to see if we made it, to see if they made it, to see if they squeezed their way in. It's a made-for-TV product. They said it just as much. They said it. Boo Corrigan said it. We wanted to put out competitive games. It shouldn't be about manufacturing matchups. It's not about manufacturing matchups. Hey, let the teams play it out and let them play and let them sell it on the field. Could you imagine if there's just the year that the Orlando Magic beat the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals and then lost to the Lakers in the finals? They would be like, sorry, Dwight Howard. Yeah, I know y'all won 4-1, but we're sending LeBron because people want to see LeBron and Kobe play. Yeah, that's what the people wanted, but LeBron and the Cavs didn't win. Did you imagine? Oh, man, hey, man, Kobe, sorry. People want to see, I don't know, they want to see Golden State and LeBron again. Sorry, Kobe, I know you made it all the way here in your 18th year in the NBA, man, but that's what the people want to see. No, you play the game and you end it on the field.
Ken or Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. Shaw chimes in.
Oh, boy.
Sure people. No, he's Team U. He's jumping on me right now. He says, tell him again, Kev. It's been about the show for far too long. Justin, this has been what you and I have gotten into arguments about. College football should not be about what you win by, it shouldn't be about that. Look, Shaw, that's been my whole argument from the beginning. My point, to sum up my point from the beginning, it doesn't matter what you think college football should do. It's about what they have always done and what they've done since the year one of the college football playoff. I'm not arguing that what the committee did was okay or morally right or anything like that. I'm just saying it's basically on par with what they always do. They move the goalposts around. So, Shaw, Kev, I'll hear his argument. As far as you're concerned, you're banned from the show anyways, but that's fine. I want you to keep chiming in here. But when you say it shouldn't be about that, I get that. But what I was trying to say was it doesn't matter what you think college football should or should not be about. It's about how they operate. And the way that they have operated, it's always been about that. Look, 2 years ago, they let Cincinnati in the college football playoff, right? Cincinnati wasn't one of the 4 best teams in the country, but they were undefeated. And you know what bailed them out? Ohio State had 2 losses. If Ohio State only had 1 loss, trust me, they would have been in over undefeated American Conference champion at the time, Cincinnati. The bottom line is the goalpost has always moved. I'm not saying Kev's wrong. All I'm saying is I agree with Kev. It should be about that. I don't know how you implement a playoff to fairly do that, and I don't think one exists.
Well, and this is what I try to tell people this, 10 years ago when they went away from the BCS, and people were complaining about the BCS. Oh, you're going to let a computer decide? Yes, I would rather have a program decide as opposed to people, because people are manipulated. You let talking heads get on TV. You let people push narratives. I mean, we see it in this country all the time around election time. We're about a year away from less than a year away from election. So you'll see people swaying people's opinions constantly. That's what happens when you have people voting on things like this. As opposed to, hey, man, we're going to throw it into an algorithm and let it spit it out. You want to get mad at somebody? Look at the algorithm. You want to get mad at the stuff that you're seeing on your timeline on Twitter or on X or on Instagram? That's you, because you liking sneaker pics. You liking a ton of college football content. You have deemed what they're going to feed you. So we have people voting for these things. And to be perfectly honest, I think it's unfair that somehow, some way, they were able to say, hey, man, you were just good enough, but just not quite good enough. If they weren't good enough, then have them at the back of the line.
That's why I think the final poll, when it comes out, there shouldn't be teams 1 through 25. I think reveal the top 4 and be done, because there's no difference between Florida State at 5 and Liberty or whoever was at number 25. Like, you're not invited. Why you hate from outside the club? You can't even get in. Like, everyone's
it's an invitational. So. It's an invitational.
It's Kenner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, this is Travis Kelce, NFL tight end and proud member of the Lowe's Home Team. Lowe's knows when you've got the best price, you've already won. That's why we offer the lowest price guarantee. If you find a better price online or in store, we'll match it. Now you can score on the top brands from the Lowe's Home Team picks, like Scotts, LG, and DeWalt. So take on your projects with confidence. Lowe's is the exclusive home improvement retail partner of the NFL.
Price match applies to same item, current price of qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Visit Boot Barn for savings on top quality holiday gifts this week only. We're offering $40 off exotic cowboy boots and up to $40 off select leather Western boots. Our holiday specials this week also include 25% off select outerwear, Western shirts, flannels, and jeans. Additionally, we're offering savings on children's outerwear and denim. Visit us this week and save on gifts for the whole family. Boot Barn. Unwrap the West.
Want the best fried chicken in the nation? Bring home the chicken voted best fast food fried chicken by USA Today readers when you pick up a 12-piece family meal from Lee's famous recipe chicken. With 12 pieces of honey-dipped, hand-breaded, pressure-cooked to perfection chicken, 3 craveable large sides, and 6 fluffy biscuits, this is the flavor that made us famous. Head to Lee's famous recipe chicken and pick up a 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Need legal help? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Have you heard about our new help center? It's located at the Montgomery County Courthouse, providing legal information and forms. And we also share programs and resources that may be available to you. Let us help you navigate the court system. Visit us online at courthouse2u.com for more info.
Urology Specialists of Ohio are here for you. Men, your good health is important to them. Their knowledge of specific male anatomy, prostate issues, and how to help in your healing is their main focus. Urology Specialists of Ohio are now accepting new patients at all locations: Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. They have been in practice for over 20 years with over 80 years of experience between 5 physicians. Call today. They can schedule your appointment in a timely manner with little wait time. Online at urologyspecialistofohio.com. With more ways than ever to connect to news and entertainment, did you know that 90% of new car buyers want the tried and true AM/FM radio option? That's because your local radio stations are reliable, trustworthy, and bring you a local connection that can't be replicated. Not to mention, we are free, no subscription or cellular data required. More than 80 million Americans each month depend on AM for their news, weather, and entertainment. Visit wearebroadcasters.com and tell us how you depend on AM.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Paid actor portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
Tax refund advance loans at Jackson Hewitt. Starting December 11th, early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Have a hot take of your own that you're just dying to get off your chest? Text or call the ESPN Dayton hotline at 937-518-1410. That's how you can be a part of our local shows throughout the week, like the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays at 3 p.m., and the Keith Byers Show, Mondays at noon. Call or text the shows at 937-518-1410.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Kev, will you pull your camera down just a tad?
Do you want to see my angry face?
There we go. This
see me so mad.
This is my angry. This is my happy face. How
Mm.
about Reds Fest over the weekend? I made David Bell laugh. David Bell didn't know had any emotions outside of just no facial expression at all, or anger running out to the mound. Or
Viking hat.
Yeah, but I hate when I interview people and then I end up liking them and then I got chased. Then I'm a hypocrite because then I But David Bell's pretty cool. I kind of like David Bell. DB. That's what I call him now. DB.
Make sure you go to the Wing Facebook page, check out some of the interviews out there, share them with the folks.
Shout out to Nick Kirby and Trace Fowler, Chatterbox Sports. We partnered with them to do that. Nick did a great job. Appreciate them on that. But yeah, Reds Fest was a success. We caught up with Phil Castellini. We caught up with David Bell. My new favorite Red, by the way, he's like the size of an NBA player. I'm used to baseball players coming up, and I'm always like, this is why baseball is like, I'm surprised it's not more popular because it's the most relatable. I look like I could relate to a lot of the baseball players that walk up, and I'm the same height as you.
Mhm.
Like I could play, but then Will Benson walks up, and I'm like, you're what a professional athlete's supposed to look like. Just absolutely jacked and tall and just good for him. Yeah.
His hands, I dapped him up. I was like, wait a minute, man.
But his personality, badass.
Cool dude. Very cool.
The full interview we're going to have, for those who missed the Reds Fest program, we'll have that full program coming up for you later on in the week. But Nick Kirby killed it. Appreciate his help. Chatterbox Sports. But I was like, man, we got a great lineup this year. Not that minor league players are not a great lineup, but we usually get a lot of minor league players, and those interviews end up being cooler down the road. Like I remember when we got Jonathan India right as he was drafted, Nick Senzel. I remember Tyler Stevenson. I remember our conversation with Nick Lodolo right off the bat. Now they're, looking back at those interviews is cool. But I forgot, because of the new collective bargaining agreement, those players are not allowed to be there.
Oh,
like you notice, like we didn't get any minor league players. I was like, man, we got the VIP treatment, man. But it's they had to, because there was no minor league players to feed us. Like
I didn't know that
they're not allowed to be asked to do those events unless they are
compensated.
So
good for them.
There's that. Yeah, jerks. It's always about the money with you people. My gosh. But no, it was a great time. We caught up with Hunter Green. We closed out the show with Hunter Green, the new general manager. I had a chance to chat with him. So just a great show. And we'll have that for you later on in the week. But shout out to the guys. Yeah, David Bell and them. David Bell, DB, my guy.
You buddies.
Man, he should have been manager of the year. What the hell? And why didn't they give him an extension sooner in the year? It's my guy. Anyways, hypocrite, Kinner. You're a hypocrite. So Ann Anderson, she chimed in again, talking. It's all the instant reaction, of course, today. With the final playoff poll that came out. Ann Anderson said the 4 best teams are in the playoffs. I don't want to see blowouts unless Alabama is beating the crap out of the state up north. And money talks SEC over ACC any day. If all else is equal, money talks, always has, always will. Okay, for one, so you could be upset that Florida State's done it. I don't think Alabama got in because of money or anything else. I think it's like what you talked about. For one, there's a reason, like when you're selected to a jury and they don't want you to be following all the media coverage because it could sway your decision, right? That's kind of what you're alluding to, is how influential some of these talking heads could be. I think Alabama, just because the prism we live in, we are conditioned to, it's Alabama. How could you? It's the SEC. I don't think it's that. I've talked to so many people at ESPN that they have nothing to do with this. And let's be clear, there's an ACC network that they get money from as well. So can we stop with the SEC? They're the talking heads for the SEC. You mentioned Paul Feinbaum a little bit ago. Paul Feinbaum is an influential voice, regardless of whether he's on the SEC network or not. I disagree with that. Not you, but I disagree with that idea that, ESPN, they forced Alabama in. Oh, stop. And by the way, and if there is a bias there, the same bias exists. If Fox was in charge of the playoff, guess what? There'd be 2 Big Ten teams every year, because Joe Klatt, gotta love him, but my gosh, he is just as obsessed with the Big Ten as what the SEC network is. ESPN is with the SEC. There's no such thing as no bias out there, so let's just get that out of the way. It exists on every network you watch, all right? But the bottom line is I think Alabama is in more so because of for one, they're elite. 2, they're worthy of being in as well. 3, it's Alabama, but I don't think it has anything to do with this conspiracy theory that's out there that ESPN is force-feeding these. We've talked to Jason Fitz. We've talked to guys who have worked at ESPN, still do. They all debunk that. Not that they're going to tell us, oh, no, we do that.
All right,
but
on
at the
air.
same time, Kirk Herbstreit, he is adamant. No one is telling me what opinions to have. These are just my opinions. That's just everyone's opinions about this, and it is what it is.
I want to read you a tweet from August 31st of this year, at one Kev Nash. Big Ten.
What was the date?
August 31st.
August 31st. Okay.
August 31st. Big Ten championship game. Iowa versus Michigan. Michigan champs. Give myself a bell for that. ACC. Florida State versus Clemson. Florida State champs. Give myself a bell for that. SEC. Georgia versus Bama. Bama champs. Texas versus K-State in the Big 12. Texas champs. Pac-12, Washington versus Oregon. Washington champs. I do this.
You sound like Salamanca.
I do this. And guess what? I will no longer do this. I will no longer do this. And like
brokenhearted Kev is the worst Kev.
And you know what?
It's so sad.
I would challenge anybody else out there, and I'm not even joking, man. I would challenge anybody out there, the On 3 folks, the Buck Nuts folks, anybody out there to test me on my college football knowledge. I love this sport. I ingest it. I read about it constantly. I love the sport. I'm heartbroken, bro. And it is not just simply because it happened to my second favorite team. I'm heartbroken because, like, man, that was just dirty. Like, it just feels dirty. And like, it's not necessarily always been about, the 4 best teams. Because you talked about UC, they got in. Talked about TCU, they got in. It's kind of more about like the most deserving and resumes and all that type of stuff. And like, that's why it kind of sucks, is because in this final year of it, it deviated. And that's what kind of sucks.
See, I don't think it deviated. An opportunity, it presented itself. The committee's been bailed out every year. I'm surprised that this has not happened more.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, this chaos that has ensued, I want to give a round of applause to the ACC for having a team relevant to even have us talking like this. I want to give a shout out to the Pac-12 for not just having 1, but 2 kick-ass teams that are now going to be Big Ten teams. So that's cool. But that made the Pac-12 relevant. All right. How about
went out in style? What a great game on Friday.
Yes. Fantastic game, right? How about the Big 12? Good for Texas. Texas is back. Quinn Ewers, the real deal. It's salt in the wound because, of course, we're watching a QB that should have been leading the Buckeyes past Michigan and into the playoff, right? Quinn Ewers, shout out to him. Good for the Big 12. Good for Texas, right? I've been screaming for years that everyone that is pissed off about SEC bias, I'm here to tell you that anger should stop being directed at the SEC and start being directed at the conferences who weren't ever holding up their end of the bargain. For far too long, the Pac-12 was a joke, and they finally figure it out. And what are they doing? They're saying, hey, we finally have a great season. Our 2 top teams here, Big Ten, we have to give them to you because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. All right, the Big 12. For far too long, they were irrelevant. And that's not okay. Good for them. Back-to-back years. First time for the Big 12 to get back-to-back teams in the playoffs. So good for them. Last year, TCU. This year, Texas.
Texas, first time.
Yeah.
First time.
Michigan's the first Big 10 team to make the playoff 3 straight years. So I'm not congratulating them, but kudos to them for consistency. So there's that. We're finally getting consistent. We're finally getting all these parties to the table. And that's what created this chaos. And that's really, we want to talk about the TV show element to this. There was a reality TV show type of vibe when setting all of this up. If they cared about fairness, there would have been 5 or 6 playoff spots when you have five Power 5 conferences. It was always set up to not be fair. It was always set up to create a scenario like this, where, like, let's say Texas never lost. They didn't lose to Oklahoma. They beat Oklahoma in their conference chips. They're undefeated. And let's say Alabama, they wanted to work because they never would have lost to Texas technically. But the point is there was always going to be a chance that this stuff presented itself. I don't think anything deviated. I just think that the scenarios deviated. Like, I think that 2 years ago, when everyone's like, man, the committee had the tough choice of putting Cincinnati in. It wasn't tough. Ohio State was the number 5 team. They had 2 losses. You weren't going to put a 2-loss team in. It made it easy. Now, if Ohio State had 1 loss, now the committee had to decide, man, do we put a 1-loss team in over undefeated Cincinnati, who has that Power 5 win over, or that, high major win against Notre Dame? They got bailed out there every year. They have been bailed out. And this year they weren't bailed out. Now, I've been calling for it, and I feel bad that I'm sitting here waving the flag of, yes, this is the chaos I wanted because it's at the expense of your team. But I'm not defending the committee, but they have been consistent as far as every year they've gotten them right. Every year the top 4 teams have got in. And they got it right this year in regards to 4 elite teams are in. Was it the right 4 teams? Georgia's left out. They should be pissed too. Hey, we number 1 all season, number 2 all season, and we lose by 3 against a really good Alabama team, and we're just done. Our season's done, right? Like, that's what I love, this chaos. The 14 playoff was created for this. It wasn't created to be fair. So that's my only pushback to Florida State, because this sucks and it stinks. And it would suck if it was Ohio State. I'd be just as pissed too. But nothing about the playoff was ever created to be fair. So when you and others, it's not fair, this isn't right, I get that. But the playoff, it sucks. We've been supporting it for 10 years. We've been supporting something that is not fair at all from the very beginning. However, they've still gotten it right from the very beginning as well. I don't think they've gotten it wrong. And if they've gotten it wrong, it's been the number 4 team. But we've never had an undefeated team, a conference champion, undefeated conference champion out of the Power 5 especially, not make the playoff before. What a wild weekend.
Crazy,
no doubt.
crazy. I know we live in Ohio, not Florida, or Tallahassee, Florida, to be specific. So
Is
this
this
is the
a
last
game?
thing. No, this is not a game.
Okay.
This is just more questions for you.
I'll put music behind.
Kind of what would Kenner do? So we'll wrap up with the Florida State stuff here.
Cool.
Florida State. Would you boycott the Orange Bowl versus Georgia? If you were, the czar of Florida State football, would you instruct the coach to boycott the game?
If Gene Smith was returning as AD and he had to say anything about it, I would have that conversation. We don't see teams do that, right? Have we seen teams boycott? We see it in college basketball. Teams turn down NIT.
I saw Notre Dame turn down the Hawaii Bowl one year, I believe.
So I think that's the next thing of, like, we're complaining now about star players opting out. Star players opt out because they got to protect their draft status and their health because, hey, I've made it this far. Technically, it's a meaningless game. I got to put the business side first here. I think the next step is going to be high-profile teams like this where they have more to lose than gain by playing. And like Missouri, they're on cloud 9 right now. They get a chance to play Ohio State, and it's an SEC school. I get that. But a win for Missouri, that would be such a feather in the cap of the great season that they've had.
10 wins, I believe.
Yep. So that'd be great for them if they got. But Ohio State beating Missouri, they're supposed to. But losing to Missouri, that would be back-to-back losses for Ryan Day, for Ohio State after the loss against them. Back-to-back years of not, ending the season with the win. This is what the Utah game scared me a few years ago. I'm like, man, if Ryan Day, that'd have been 3 losses in the calendar year because they lost to the Alabama in the national championship game at the beginning of the year. Then they lost to Oregon. Then they lost to Michigan. That could have been 4 potential losses within a calendar year, which is wild.
Right.
And they had more to lose than gain. Now you're having all these players who are entering the transfer portal. You're not going to have the full team. I would at least entertain it. I wouldn't like it. I want to see Ohio State play one more game and all this stuff, but I do think that there will be scenarios in the near future, maybe even this, and Ohio State will play in it. But I think Ohio State has way more to lose than gain by playing in this game. And if they lose, fans will not give Ryan Day the benefit of the doubt. Oh, well, we don't like Kyle McCord, but Kyle McCord, that was your starting guy all year. Now you're without him. Well, Julian Fleming wasn't an elite wide receiver, but he added to the depth, and now you're going to be without Marvin Harrison Jr. most likely. So, yeah, Ohio State's in trouble. They have more to lose than to gain. They win. They're supposed to. Who cares? I don't think we're going to be like, we forgive you for the loss to Michigan. You beat Missouri. He gets nothing for beating Missouri. But they lose, man, that people are just going to be outraged, and it's just a lot of bad mojo heading into the offseason.
Yeah, if I'm in charge of Florida State, I'm obviously instructing coach to play the game, but you're not going to be out there with the 2 first-round guys on defense versus.
Oh, hold on. Did you ask Florida State or Ohio State? Oh, my bad.
No, you're good.
That.
No, you're good.
My bad.
It makes sense for both. So Verse is already declared for the draft. Fisk is declared for the draft. Those are the 2 defensive guys on the defensive line. 2 wide receivers declared for the draft. Obviously, you're not going. George Travis obviously not going to play. So the team that went 13-0 is not going to be playing in this game, and for sure Brock Bowers from Georgia isn't playing either. So you're not going to get the best matchup. You're not going to get the Georgia Bulldogs from this season versus the Florida State Seminoles from this season. You play the game because guess what? There's other guys on the team that get an additional 15 practices that can get ready for the upcoming season. So you still play the game.
Real quick, let me re-answer that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I thought you said Ohio State. Florida State. I've seen a lot of people say this is how you say screw you back to college football. You opt out because that was the bowl game. That's a money maker. You're playing Georgia. It's a big bowl game, yada yada, and that's how you kind of give it back to them a bit. the bottom line is the bowl games have nothing to do with the college football playoffs.
Right.
So you're not really and let's be honest. You think these kids don't want to play? You think these athletes don't want to play? Like they want to play in the
younger
playoff.
guys,
Yeah.
like the freshmen, they want to play. Oh man, finally he's out of here. I can go get in the rotation and stuff like that. And the coaches want to still coach. And furthermore, like it's more money for the program. Like the AD is not going to say, yeah, man, we're going to turn down that $10 million check. No, the coach, you better get out there. That's your paycheck out there. You better go get it. Second one.
And incentives too. Coaches get bonuses if they win bowl games.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Second one on Florida State. Would you hang a banner for the 13-0?
Please don't. Oh, for the please don't.
I ain't saying national champions. I'm saying 13-0.
Do teams? Let me ask you. Do teams do that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, look, I think it's a case-by-case basis. If the university and the athletics department feels like this will be a season, like a way to commemorate the great season that was unfairly halted, if you will, by the committee's decision, I wouldn't mock it, I guess. Just don't. I hope they don't do the UCF route where they celebrate a national championship that they didn't win. That would be corny to me. If you want to commemorate that with the banner, I'm fine with that. I don't really care about that. That wouldn't bother me. But just please don't. I hope they don't do the UCF thing where they have a parade and do all this stuff. Like that's kind of wild to me.
Yeah,
that's
I'm with you 100%. Hang a banner, absolutely, absolutely. Hang a banner. Do not claim a national champion. That is forbidden. The main reason you hang a banner is because before this year, you were 10-3 last year. The year before that, 5-7. Year before that, 3-6. Year before that, 6-7. Year before that, 5-7. Year before that, 7-6. So you know what? You're coming out of the darkness, basically. Yeah. So like this is something to celebrate. And no, I don't think that Jordan Travis is the same impact player that Tim Tebow was to the University of Florida, maybe because obviously he won national championships and the Heisman Trophy, but that kid is going to get a statue down there because without that kid, they don't win those 13 games or those 10 games. Matter of fact, they don't win that 5 and 7 year. They don't win that many games without him. So that's crazy. But yeah, absolutely, I would hang a banner, but don't put national champions on there. And lastly, with Florida State, before we move on to Ohio State, how do you think this whole situation is going to affect recruiting for Florida State?
From again, because recruiting is changing so drastically from a transfer portal standpoint or both or whatever. I think that big picture, Florida State, I know this sounds wild because the best way to improve your brand is to be playing in this playoff, but they are a sympathetic figure now. And I think that everyone's talking Florida State right now. Not everyone's a jerk like Kenner who's trying to act like it's no big deal. I think they will be a sympathetic figure out on the recruiting trail, or at least they will be moved up. I think that, Coach Norvell, the way he's handled all of this too, by the way, putting him and Kirby Smart on a screen side by side, that was the most uncomfortable thing I'd ever seen. Kudos to both coaches. Norvell, he had every right to be as unprofessional as possible. That's tough to do. I'm not a professional person. When my back's against the wall, when I'm pissed off, you guys know it, right? That's why I'm not a very professional show host. Have I mentioned that we are the #1 sports talk show in Dayton? By the way, the numbers back it up. Just want to throw that out there. I'm not very professional. If you poke me, if you poke the bear, I'm going to come out. Kudos to the Kirby Smart and him, because Kirby Smart, no one wants to feel bad for them because everyone's anti-SEC, but you got to feel for them too, right? They're #1, #2 all season. Back-to-back national champs. You lose by 3 to Alabama, and your season's done. That's what you had. Two coaches who were just gutted right there, and they were both very professional. That I think recruiting this will help them. I think that players are going to want to go be a part of the journey. This is going to be something that if they get to the playoff next year or the next couple of years, win a national title, this talking point will always be mentioned. This is a part of their history. It seems bad right now, but I think it'll be part of the rally whenever everything comes back up on top. How are they built for next year, by the way? You're a Florida State.
Got the #3 recruiting class in the country.
So they all right.
I mean,
how about get that #2?
They got the number, I want to say 12 last year. So, those guys will get onto the field. I think ultimately they'll get the guys that they need, because the coaches and the programs that are going to try to use this against them basically say, hey, you can go 13-0 down there and still not make it to the playoff. To be perfectly honest, like the negative recruiting, if they're trying that tactic, is only helping them, because you're saying, hey, they're going to go 13-0. That's helping them say, like, hey, man, you go to a team that's going to be able to get you to a 13-0 situation. I think they'll be perfectly fine. I think they, quote unquote, take a step back. I don't think they're going to go 13-0 next year. Probably 10 wins is the max for next year, but I think they'll be perfectly fine. I think Coach Norvell has done a great job down there. I mean, I got rattled off the numbers. I mean, increased wins every single year being down there. So I think they'll be all right.
We'll see. Kenner and Kev, 14. By the way, you got Shaw dropping the F-bomb. He's telling people to go F. I mean, people are fighting they're fighting in the chat. They're fighting in the chat.
Dropping the F-bomb on Facebook?
He's blopping out the U's and stuff, you know.
For what?
Mark Smith poked the bear.
What did he say?
All right, let's go through. That's a good tease.
Let's
talk about the Facebook chat wars going on. Shaw is banned from the show because he cussed on the air, not once but twice. He had a 1-month ban the first time. Kev kicked him off the air for the rest of the 2023 year. He's eligible to return in January upon official review, right? Or is it just January 1st? Boom, he's back. But we'll see.
We'll see.
So,
we'll see.
So now there is a battle going on in the chat section. It involves Mark Smith, Super Bengals fan, going at Shaw, and Shaw's going back at him, and there's just a lot of drama in the
drama.
Dayton's #1 sports talk show, Kenner and Kev. Will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hey, it's Amanda, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A nugget trays is that they're so easy for the holidays. They're warm and flavorful. It's always the crowd pleaser. When I put down a nugget tray, everyone is happy.
Hey, this is Brian, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A nugget trays is the joy that it brings to me and everybody around me during the holidays. They're warm, juicy, and delicious.
Cater the holidays with Chick-fil-A today. Available on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
My name is Jim Conroy, and I am the CEO at Boot Barn. Family and the holidays go hand in hand, and they impact our lives in incredible ways. As the hardest working people I've ever met, my parents' impact brought me to Boot Barn, where community comes first, and togetherness and heritage are celebrated. This holiday, as we reflect on the past and look forward to the future, we thank you for further impacting our lives and being a part of the Boot Barn family.
There are good gifts, and then there are great gifts. I just shopped at Kohl's, and let me tell you, I found some really great gifts. And all for less, like 50% off Cuddle Duds bedding, a Ninja Blast portable blender for under $60, and 30% off toys. Then I got 20% off some of my finds, and I earned Kohl's cash. Don't just take it from me. Hurry to Kohl's to get the best gifts for everyone on your list. Select styles, toys, coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. Offers end December 6th. 20% off valid through December 10th. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Now's the time to get a great deal on Kubota construction equipment, featuring durable Kubota engines, more comfort, more productivity, more get it done right. The Kubota construction lineup shows up ready to work every day. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 36 months. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see our full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check us out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
Hungry for a great time, maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits. Submarine House.
What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about the perfect holiday gifts $25 and under, like matching family PJs, fragrance sets, toys, and more. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at a Macy's Backstage near you.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Well, the forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies, a chance of snow flurries, and 31 tonight. Rain, snow mix, and 41 tomorrow. Wednesday, it's partly sunny and a high of 42. I'm Rick Schremp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, folks, it's game day, and the betting's going to be intense, Drew.
You said it, Dave, but a good pregame routine keeps betting responsible.
That's right. You got to pause before you play.
Good call. Sports betting is hot, but it can be risky.
And pausing to set limits is an all-star move.
That's right, Dave. If you bet on sports, pause before you play to set limits, recognize the risk, and know when to stop.
Learn more at pausebeforeyouplay.org.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Melissa and Doug, toys for kids, well built, made to last, and puzzles for all ages. They're thinking games. Put those kids to work. Available at Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North Dayton Lakeview Road, New Carlisle. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
This time of year, big box tool stores start to sell a whole bunch of not tools, from dancing Santas to plastic trees. At Northern Tool and Equipment, we'd rather sell you a 4-horsepower chainsaw fitted with a full chisel chain to cut down your own tree. And we have wood chippers come January, because mulch. We're cutting prices on your favorite brands this holiday season. Save on Milwaukee, Steel, and Lincoln Electric in-store or at northerntool.com.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Dayton's #1 rated afternoon sports talk show, the Kinner and Kev Show, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash, and I have to do this because we didn't do it to start because it's been a bad day for Mr. Kev Nash, bad weekend. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash.
What up, dog?
Oh, geez, come on, come on.
Nah, bruv.
All right, see, all right, let's no, it's bad. College football has just beat the hell out of you this year,
dude. So think about it though. Think about it though.
Hook, left hook, uppercut.
Think about it, man. This is my favorite sport. We had this discussion all the time. You like an NFL guy. Like, all right, man, I love the NFL, but more I love my Steelers. You know what I'm saying? I'll watch the NFL, of course, but if it ain't the Steelers, I don't have to watch it. Like, I have to watch these big games, no matter what conference it is. You know what I'm saying? When Bama has a big game versus Texas, I'm locked in. When Texas has their game versus the Sooners, horns down, by the way, Boomer Sooner. I'm locked in. So, like, this is the sport that I love the most. And, growing up in Cleveland, people only really watch the Buckeyes up there. They don't watch anything else besides the Buckeyes. I mean, it's the Browns and the Buckeyes. Like, you don't watch nothing else. So when I got to college and I found a group of people that love college football as much as I did, like, it just made the passion go even stronger. So to see something like this happen to not only to a team that I root for, it just sucks. It just puts you in a mood.
So here's the good news. Now, I'm a fan of the 12-team playoff as far as the matchups when those happen. Like, those are going to be some massive games. The 12-team playoff eliminates this. Now, if you're as pissed off about the number 13 team not getting the 12 spot as what you are about Florida State not getting the 4th spot, I'll be very surprised. No one should be as passionate about the number 13 team not getting number 12 as 5 versus 4, which is why the 14 playoff was created. It was for this drama, this reality TV show type of vibe, this emotion. No one's going to be as emotional about number 13 missing it as what we are watching with number 5. So while you're out on college football for the time being, I'm here to tell you, to make you feel a little bit better, everything you've said about your frustration, luckily, you'll never have to deal with that again, although some of those talking points may exist. The 12-team playoff is a little bit more structured. You're going to have your conference champions that will be ranked based on the best conference champions and the worst. So they're slotted and they'll be in, and Florida State's in the 12-team playoff. They're in even with the loss, even with the quarterback injury, all that stuff. So at least, does that make you feel any better that there's a little bit more structure involved in the 12 teams?
Yeah, there's a little bit more structure, but with that being said, we haven't seen it yet, right? So we don't know, like you talked about in hour one, the loopholes and the things that we're not going to like about it. And the other part is, so I don't know, let's just pick a random team out there. Let's just say Northwestern is having that magical season, and their only loss is to, I don't know, let's just go with the right answer, Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. And they're squeezed out for a 2-loss Tennessee. Like, is that right? Like, those are going to be the new talking points of the whole thing. But you're right. No one's going to care as much as they do about, teams 13 and 14 as opposed to, 4 and 5 and 6. Like, those are going to be the ones that we focus on because, the same thing happens in March Madness. Like, if you're on the bubble 1,000,001 years in a row, like, you know what I'm saying, the team that I root for, Syracuse, seems like we're always on the bubble. So when we get left out, there's really nothing you can complain about. You're on the bubble for a reason. So you're right. But, like, I can honestly say, like, the passion that I have for college football and the knowledge that I try to bring to the show, I really think it may just be the emotions talking, but I really think that I'm not going to be able to provide that anymore.
Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. So Shaw and Mark Smith are just going back and forth.
Bad language?
Yeah, now it's just a book, and it's hard to keep up. But Mark Smith taking shots at that team up north. They cheated 3 years in a row. Watch it all come out, and then tell me how you could stand behind a team like that. Shaw keeps doing this argument of you need that to be true so bad for your sanity. But the thing is, like, they did cheat. I don't know why he keeps saying that they haven't cheated. Like, they did cheat. That's not even an opinion, Shaw. Like, you keep telling Buckeye fans you need that to be true for your sanity. No, we know they cheated. Like, that's not even an opinion. Like, hey, water's wet. Winter, it's cold outside. Summer, it's hot outside. And Michigan cheated. Like, those are all well-known things. All right, so I don't know. But, yeah, that some, STFU and some other stuff was, just a lot of passion in there. So there's that. So the playoff.
Yeah.
The college football playoff. Let's take the emotion aside. We now know who's in. Regardless, we talked about who's not in. And that's the fun part of this March Madness. It's always, man, I can't believe this team didn't make it. They had these quality wins, blah, blah, blah. That part's out of the way. I think that this 4-team field might be the best 4-team field in the history of the playoff. Maybe that's recency bias, but I can't think of a playoff that, like, 1 versus 4, we have no clue who's going to win that. And 2 versus 3, we have no more years than not. We know 1's going to beat 4, and more years than not, we know that even 2 versus 3 can get a little ugly. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. So the records for the seeds. Okay. The number 1 seed is 7-2 all time in the playoff semifinals. The number 2 seed is 4-5 all time. The number 3 seed is 5-4, and the 4 seed is 2-7. Alabama and Ohio State are the 2 wins from the 4 seed position. That's it.
Go Bucks.
But this might be the deepest 4 teams that we have seen. Any 4 of these. I don't think you can go back and look. I don't think that there are 4 national championship contenders that have made the 4-team playoff in the history consistently. This year, any one of these teams can win the national championship. It would not surprise me one bit.
We said this all season long. Like, it's looking like, man, it's like at least 6 teams could win this. And obviously, if Jordan Travis doesn't break his ankle, we will be still having that same conversation if things would have played out a little differently with his ankle. I mean, like, if Georgia was in there instead of Bama, we would be saying the same thing. If Florida State was in that 4th spot with Jordan Travis, we'd be saying the same exact thing.
Yep.
This is ultimately good for the sport, with the transfer portal, opening up things to have teams there to bounce back a lot faster than they were off the traditional way of recruiting and things like that out of high school. So you're right. Like, this is wide open. But my question for you is, who you rooting for? Who you rooting for?
Roll Tide.
Never.
Roll Tide. Now, who am I rooting for to win the national championship?
Yeah.
Quinn Ewers in Texas. Washington, I wouldn't mind. Look, I'm not really just beat Michigan. They don't deserve it. They cheated. Like, the only reason they're happy about Florida State not getting in, they're mad that they didn't get in because they wanted to beat up on a team without their starting quarterback. But the only reason they're happy is because now no one's talking about the cowards that make up their fans and their program. Like, they all cheated and they support it and yada yada. Now we're talking about Florida State and all that stuff. They're happy about that. But what they're not happy about is, you hear the soundbite of when they found out that Alabama was the number 4 team? They went from cheering to, it was like a groaning noise, like, oh man, we actually have to play somebody, which I don't know why it matters who you play. You got the weak link. You got the ugly duckling last year, and you couldn't even beat TCU last year. So no wonder you're a little upset that you got Alabama this year, but they deserve Alabama in the first round. Let's just put it that way. Roll Tide at least for that matchup right there. But I would love to see, although it would be painful because Quinn should be a Buckeye, right? I would love to see Texas hoisting up that national championship trophy. I like Sarkisian. I like Quinn Ewers. And I'm kind of pulling for Texas from that standpoint.
A lot of storylines, a lot of talking points. I am not rooting for Alabama because I feel like that should be Florida State's spot. And I truly believe if Florida State was in that spot with a whole month to prepare, I think they carve up the Michigan secondary. Ohio State had dudes running butt naked wide open all over the place. Kyle McCord couldn't give them the ball. Just as simple as that. Coach Norvell with Rodemaker, with those receivers, Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman, would carve that secondary up. You give him that time and those wide receivers, going to dice them up. So that makes me even more upset because they were going to ultimately end up playing for the national championship because they were going to carve that secondary up. And we saw that defensive performance that they put on. Some real pros out there on that D-line for Florida State. But they're not in it. They're playing. Bama's in it. So I can't root for Bama. I just can't because it just pains me because I believe that should be Florida State spots. And I also will never, ever in my life ever root for a cheating program like Michigan. So I'm not even going to watch that game. On to the other game. There's no way that I could root for Texas in that racist song that they sing after the games. So I'm obviously not rooting for Texas. So I'm rooting for Washington for multiple reasons. One, yeah, there we go. We share the same last name. Shouts out to them. My best friend, Reggie Powers. He's a Huskies fan. Would love to see a smile on his face. And Michael Penix Jr. Been screaming Michael Penix Jr.'s name since he was quarterback at Indiana. And now he's on the big stage. And I think Michael Penix Jr. is not only going to win the Heisman on Saturday, he's going to win a national championship by the end of when they play at January 9th. He'll be hoisting that trophy. So go Huskies.
Shaw said, remember I told you earlier, you had upset him. And I can't remember what he told me at Frickers yesterday at the show, that you had annoyed him with something. I can't remember what it was. Then it was this, that you were pointing out all the wide open receivers.
But naked wide open. But Fleming was wide open all game long.
He said Michigan had open receivers as well.
Okay.
But so you have a bum quarterback too.
Okay. They were running okay. I wasn't talking about what Michigan was doing. I was talking about what Ohio State was doing.
Yep. As simple as that.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
Is what it is. I mean, as far
so like that's at the Rose Bowl, the Michigan Bama game. So that's the 5:00 game, and then Washington and Texas is in New Orleans. So that's the 8:00 game on New Year's Day, right?
I think so. So I was going to pull this up. I haven't hit refresh on this yet. So let's see. Real quick. They don't have it set with those ones yet. So hold on. We'll find the times for those, the New Year's 6 games and all that fun stuff. But yeah, bottom line, like I said, these matchups.
It is. Okay. Yep. Bama, Michigan, Rose Bowl, 5:00. Sugar Bowl, Washington, Texas is 8:00.
Shaw responded, by the way.
You don't say.
And he got it wrong, but he said something about, so what are we talking about? And then he goes 30-23, but it was 30-24. But I think we all, I don't know what.
Y'all won.
Shaw's not paying attention to what you're talking about.
I didn't say that Michigan cheated this time. I didn't say Michigan didn't win. I just said Ohio State had dudes running butt naked wide open. Kyle McCord couldn't find them to throw them the ball. And I believe that Coach Norvell, with Rodemaker, would have had those receivers running butt naked wide open, just like Ohio State's receivers were running butt naked wide open. And this time, those wide receivers are Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson, as opposed to Julian Fleming and Marvin Harrison.
Even that, I saw a screen grab the other night about the final play of Ohio State versus Michigan. The
butt
final
naked.
Play.
3 dudes wide open.
If McCord,
2 of them on the way to the end zone.
And I hate the if thing. You know what? If my aunt had uncle, we know how that
right,
story.
Absolutely,
if my aunt had whatever, she'd be my uncle. You know how that ends, right? So I say that because I'm not doing the whole woulda, coulda, shoulda. Ohio State was not good enough to beat Michigan. They weren't good enough to be in the playoff. They're not good enough to win national championship. Okay, fine. We're not making excuses. We are pointing. It doesn't change the fact. It's just like the Cincinnati Bengals. if Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl 2 years ago just gets a hair of a second more time to throw. Jamar Chase, butt naked, as Kev says, wide open on that far right sideline, and then I would have to, face the Bengals being Super Bowl champions. Now, I was happy for that one. I was not happy about this one. When I saw that screen grab, I needed to see that nobody was open. And it was heartbreaking to see that Marvin Harrison would have won the Heisman, by the way, because if McCord connects to him on that final play that he got sacked on the end of the game, Marvin Harrison Jr. is walking. I mean, not even running, walking. That's how wide open he was. He's walking that into the end zone. They're beating Michigan. He's winning the Heisman. The Buckeyes are in the playoff, and boom, that's at least how you cope with what happened to Florida State.
Absolutely. I'll be good. I'll be good. There's more. I mean, on that same play, Julian Fleming's wide open too. He's running a post corner route. And it's actually the same play in the first half where they ultimately ended up kicking a field goal on that drive. It's the same exact play. Yeah. It's the same exact play. Fleming's wide open both times, like from the same exact yard mark. It's like from like 30 yards out. So that play is drawn up to be a touchdown. And it was a touchdown. Dude just didn't see him. And I mean, kudos to Michigan. Dude bull rushed. I mean, a linebacker put a guard on his butt. So weight program at Michigan, salute to that linebacker who's strong as all get out. He'll be playing in the pros one day. He caused a bad throw. Kudos. You made the play. We didn't.
See, Shaw's not understanding what you're trying to say here. So Shaw goes on to say, and so does every team. Shaw, you have to pay attention here because we're not saying that only Ohio State had open wide receivers. What he is pointing out, excuse me for speaking on your behalf, what he is saying is that the missed opportunities from Ohio State's offense because of limitations at quarterback. If Florida State had a healthy quarterback and they got that 4th spot, McCord missed open wide receivers. Their offensive line didn't give him time to hit those wide receivers. Florida State was well more equipped, and with a Heisman contending quarterback like that, Michigan's not getting bailed out by bad quarterback play that Ohio State provided. Travis would have found those wide open dudes. They would have picked apart Michigan's defense. That's the point that Kev Nash is trying to make. So I don't know why you keep countering with, he goes, I am paying attention. No, you're not. You're not paying attention because I wouldn't have to explain and talk on behalf of Kev if you were paying attention. Where's my blood pressure, my medicine?
It's all good. Don't worry about it. Hey,
I got you, Kev. I got your back.
They're in the playoff. We're not. It's fine. It's fine.
So with that, though, so Michigan is a 1.5 point favorite over Bama. Are you surprised by that line? I'm not surprised by lines anymore at all. The Washington 9.5 point dog was such a weird line to begin with.
Easy money. That was easy money right there.
This should be close. Michigan, Alabama, are the jokes about them aside, even though it's not a joke, they are legitimately a cheating program. But the hatred I have for that program aside, Michigan, Bama, that's a national championship matchup in the semifinals. I'm jacked about that. And no matter whether it's Michigan, Washington, in a Big Ten championship, whether it's Washington and Michigan or Washington, Alabama, or Texas, Alabama, Texas, Michigan, whatever the championship, the ratings, this will be the highest rated playoff, I think, ever. I think this will be the highest rated playoff. I'm willing to go out as far on a limb to say that. I think this will be the highest rated playoff in the history of the 14 playoff, and to cap it all off, we'll see. These matchups are unreal. Michigan, my dislike for them aside, they're a hell of a team. They are physical. And so is Alabama. I think Alabama is better at the skill position players. I think that's where they're going to, they have the better quarterback, and he can make plays with his legs. McCord can't. You don't have a lot of playmaking quarterbacks in the Big Ten that Michigan kind of just sat on a bit. Of course, Bowling Green didn't really present that much of a challenge in the non-con. So they're going to see something they haven't seen all season. I like Alabama over Michigan in this one, at least as we sit here a month out from the games.
Yeah, we're a month out. But if history tells us anything, one of these games is going to be a blowout. So out of these 4 teams, which team is getting blown out?
Which team is getting, I think, that's a good, I don't know. All 4 teams have legitimate defenses. I don't know if anyone to be fair, is where I'm going to be considered a hater. I don't think Texas or Washington will blow one another out. What's the line on that? I haven't checked that. I think that'll be a close one. I think Michigan won't blow out Alabama. I think the team that's
Texas, 4.
That's interesting too. I think of all the teams that are the most vulnerable to getting blown out, Kev, I think because of some of the stuff we just talked about, I think Michigan. I think Alabama, if they're cooking the way they were against Georgia, if they're cooking the way that they have been in this recent run, I think Michigan's the most vulnerable to be blown out because of that. KB and Keith has always been speaking very highly of the Big Ten, right? Him and I were talking about how bad the offenses were in the Big Ten this year. I mean, all of the premier defensive teams had offenses ranked 100 or further back. Like, there's no good offenses in the Big Ten. So when we talk about inflated defensive numbers for Ohio State, which is what I was concerned about, I said that from the beginning. Well, how good is Ohio State's defense? They are playing in the Big Ten. The Big Ten is not known for elite quarterback play or elite offenses. How are those padded? Forget to talk about the padded defense of Michigan. And we saw that when they played TCU last year. They played outside of the Big Ten, and boom, they give up 40-plus points when they're playing real offenses. I would have loved to see what they would have done against Georgia. I think that they get punched in the mouth by Georgia as far as that's concerned. So now I look at this. I think Alabama, I think that they're good enough to not miss the open wide receivers. I think that they're good enough to pick up plays on the ground, which something Michigan hasn't played. I think Michigan's the most vulnerable to get blown out of all the teams that are in the playoff right now.
I agree. I think what we're going to see between Texas and Washington is going to be high-flying, highly entertaining offense and some hard-hitting defenses out there, especially from Texas on their D-line and linebackers. But I really like the DBs from Washington. But I still think it's going to be high-flying. Obviously, Worthy, the receiver from Texas, he got that high ankle sprain. They didn't take that into account by pushing them into the playoff, but neither there nor there. I still think that's going to be the more entertaining of the two. But I think that Alabama is going to bring a different type of energy to this matchup. I think that you're right about the quarterback play for Alabama. It's not necessarily traditional. He's still a work in progress of throwing the ball, but the pass that he does throw is the long ball, and he's good at that. And quarterbacks that give Michigan trouble are quarterbacks that can move. Look at Tila Tagovailoa.
Yep.
He gave him problems. When you're statuesque like Kyle McCord, hey man, we ain't got to worry about you running or keeping on those zone read. We know you're not going nowhere. They're going to bring Michigan a lot of problems. And I think that Michigan will be the team most likely to get blown out.
Yeah, I do too. And Shaw responded with that. He said, if JJ gets healthy, the secondary gets healthy, then we shall see. Did Bama almost lose to Auburn or not? Look, that
sure did.
That argument is a resume type argument that we're talking about here. But at the end of the day, I mean, we could sit here and play this game all day. I mean, look, Maryland, you struggled. You barely beat Maryland. Maryland is a multi-loss team. Maryland's not a good football team. You struggled with Maryland. So we could do this game all day. We can go and nitpick in a 12-game season and find games to fit the narrative that they're not very good. Shaw, if you're trying to convince yourself that Alabama's not good, then I feel bad for you. I can't roll Tide, baby. Where is Bama Brian at? Where's McKinney, the commissioner, at? I need my Alabama fans. I'm going to be the biggest. I know Kev can't. This is tough. I'm not doing my services over here.
Go Huskies.
Go Huskies and roll Tide. How about that?
Huskies.
Oh man, I can't. And we could still play the I don't give a damn for the whole state of Michigan song the whole way. There we go. Ann Anderson. Where'd Ann go? Ann said, I have become a one-game Tide fan. 65-0 would be perfect. Probably not, but I can dream. I'm with you, Ann. I am with you. So, David Shaw said, I'm not saying that Bama is bad. Once again, you're putting words in my mouth. I feel like if I put words in your mouth, then it'll be the most intelligent words that have ever come out of your mouth, Shaw, because I don't really know what you're saying. What does Alabama barely beating Auburn have to do with anything in this conversation? I'm just throwing it out there. Hey, Buckeyes, they were busy today, not talking about the playoffs, but, well, they went portaling. Now, is this a bad thing? They lost their starting quarterback. They lost one of their running back pieces. They lost Julian Fleming. Is this a bad thing? It only matters who you replace those guys with, which we'll talk about when we come back. Kidder and Kev, the Dayton's #1 rated sports talk show here. We'll be right back.
We are racing at Hollywood Dayton Raceway. Catch the excitement this Saturday. Post time is 4 p.m. Be there this Saturday night for TVs and tickets. You could win one of 5 prize packs that include a big screen television, 2 tickets to a baseball game, and a Roku stick with a subscription to Racetrack Television. That's this Saturday at Hollywood Dayton Raceway. Post time is 4 p.m. Horses, racing, and winners at Hollywood Dayton Raceway.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Switch to Boost Infinite Wireless. Call 855-55-BOOST. Visit boostinfinite.com or go to amazon.com and search for Boost iPhone 15.
Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at gawon'twait.com. That's gawon'twait.com.
Are you involved with a school or charitable fundraiser that holds an auction, bid and buy booth, or a raffle to raise money? Many of the most popular items at auctions or booths are autographed sports memorabilia items. How can you get great items in your event? Call Adam Walter at Sports Investments. Sports Investments has a consignment program for fundraisers that has provided outstanding items. You select items that are proven sellers, including autographed pieces from Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Big Red Machine, the Bengals, the Browns, UC, XU, UK, NKU, Dayton, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Sports Investments consigns the items to your group at a highly discounted price. And when they sell, you keep the profit. You don't pay anything in advance. And if something doesn't sell, you simply return it. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits, a $25 Frickers gift card, and get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. Let them get what they really want.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project. Find plumb, level, and 45 degrees quickly with a Johnson Levels Magnetic Torpedo Level. It's durable, easy to read, and glows in the dark, ensuring accurate results in both bright and low light areas. Get precise and efficient measurements with a 9-inch magnetic torpedo level for just $6.98 after $9 mail-in rebate. Prices are good through December 11. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
All season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Tax refund advance loans at Jackson Hewitt. Starting December 11th, early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Would you like to save hundreds of dollars on your real estate taxes? Celebrate the holidays with the gift of a lower tax bill. This is Montgomery County Auditor Carl Keith, and if you're a homeowner age 65 or older, or you are permanently and totally disabled, you could be eligible for the homestead exemption. To find out if you qualify, call my homestead hotline at 937-225-4341. The deadline to apply for this tax break is December 31st, but if you are already enrolled, you do not need to reapply. New applicants are subject to an income test. Visit our website for more information at mcauditor.org or call 937-225-4341. That hotline number again is 937-225-4341. And remember, the deadline to apply is December 31st. This is Auditor Carl Keith wishing you and your homestead the best this holiday season.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody. QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
And I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Do you have foot pain? Foot pain is not normal regardless of your age or job. Podiatric physicians are the most qualified doctors to care for your feet and can provide important foot care solutions or shoe inserts to better manage foot pain. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. We've been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. To find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Don't go through another year with awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics right now and make 2024 the year you are back to living life normal again. Hey, it's Keith Byers. QC Kinetics can give you your life back. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. These are all natural treatments that can repair and restore that damaged tissue, giving you pain-free movement again. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients around the country. People who had knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, who were able to get lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. If you have pain from an old injury or pain associated with arthritis, you need to check this out. The future of medicine is here. Regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics. Make the call now so you can get the most out of 2024. Get back to doing what you love. And don't forget, you can use your HSA or FSA funds. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Hungry for a great time? Maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits. Submarine House.
You don't need a job platform, you need a hiring partner. Indeed lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Dayton sports fans, don't forget to follow and subscribe to ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Listen, watch, interact. Search ESPN Dayton on YouTube.
All right, everybody, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. So, Chris Hummer is a national college football writer and transfer portal reporter for 24/7 Sports. He just tweeted out about 10 minutes ago, Kev, that Arch Manning is expected to stay at Texas for 2024. So there's two ways to look into this. It's, you know what? He's content. He's not in a hurry to get to the league. That family money, the Manning legacy, and he's going to sit back and wait his turn because a couple weeks ago there were reports that Quinn Ewers was considering coming back for another year. Well, a couple weeks ago, Texas was in the middle of kind of an offensive little skid, if you will. He wasn't playing very well, but he looked NFL ready in this Big 12 championship game. And I think depending on how he performs in this playoff coming up in just under a month, I think we could see Quinn Ewers in the NFL next season. But if he comes back, I think this could be a thing of, okay, Quinn Ewers is coming back to Texas. So the reason I bring this up is Ohio State, they're in the quarterback market.
Yeah.
We woke up today, Kyle McCord had surprised a lot of people by entering his name into the transfer portal, although it shouldn't be surprising. As I said, Kev, I'm not surprised that he's leaving Ohio State. I'm just surprised at day one of the portal being open, he chucked up the deuces and said, I'm out. That's what I'm surprised by. I'm not surprised that he's leaving Ohio State. I'm surprised that there was no waiting or considering or mulling it over. It was, I'm out of here. Kyle McCord out. The Buckeyes starting quarterback for the second straight year. For the third straight year, they'll have a different starting quarterback in 2024, of course. We just don't know who that quarterback's going to be. Is it an incoming freshman? Is it Kyle? How do you pronounce the quarterback's name? The freshman?
Keyholes.
So is it Keyholes is going to be the quarterback or whatever you pronounce his name? I don't know. Good or a bad thing? Kyle McCord entering the transfer portal.
It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing for the Buckeyes because not only, let's just say it is Keyholes or the incoming freshman Aaron Nolan that's coming in January, or it is someone like a Cam Ward or a DJU that are coming to Ohio State. I want a lot of competition in the room. I want a whole bunch of guys in there fighting for the QB1 spot, just like you have a whole bunch of guys out there fighting for the first team reps at cornerback or linebacker and stuff like that. I think better athletes are going to step up to the challenge. I'm not saying Kyle McCord's running away from the challenge, but I think it was clearly made to him that, hey, we're bringing competition to the room. There's nothing guaranteed. You have to still work for this spot. And that's what I think will not only make Kyle a better quarterback, but all the other quarterbacks as well. So I would have preferred him stay simply for that reason.
So I'm seeing a lot of people chime in. Everyone wants Aaron Nolan right off the bat. He'd be a true freshman.
True freshman.
Here's why Aaron Nolan
saw a true freshman on Saturday night with Florida State. You sure?
So what's funny about that, Aaron Nolan has a 0% chance of being the starter next season for Ohio State. And here's why. Ryan Day's coaching for his job. And the last thing you're going to do is put your job security in the hands of an 18-year-old that just spent the last couple of months in study hall and leading lunch in a cafeteria with his high school buddies with gum plunged under the table. Like Ryan Day's not doing that. There's a reason. Now, if Ryan Day felt comfortable in his job security, you look at Kyle McCord and say, hey, we could do better than this. We're gonna grind like crazy this summer. We're gonna do everything we can. But Ryan Day knows he's coaching for his job. So this could either hurt Ohio State because he's gonna make maybe drastic decisions that don't need to be made. This is where it's tough for Ryan Day. He's making decisions to save his job versus what's best for the program. Maybe bringing Kyle McCord back is what's best. A full season under his belt. He's an older quarterback. He'll approach this offseason different than he did last offseason. He's going to know the ropes a little bit more. He could build them. But because Ryan Day's coaching for his job, that's why they're hitting the portal. Because Ryan Day's coaching for his job, Aaron Nolan has a 0% chance, in my opinion, of being the starter next year. They're going to hit the portal, and they're going to do this all over again. The problem with all of this is the message that it sends on the recruiting trail. It could either help move Ohio State forward, beat Michigan, get to the playoff, win the national championship, or it sets them back in the recruiting line because of, other coaches. And Ryan Day, you don't want to go play for him at Ohio State. All he does is every time his veteran quarterback graduates or heads to the NFL, they just go to the portal and bring in another guy. Well, when will you get a fair shot? There's no path to you being the next starting quarterback. This is the fear I have of the decision-making is the ripple effect of every decision Ryan Day makes. You go with the true freshman. Now you're having another year of a guy learning how to play the position. Will he get the rivalry? Will he understand the importance of that?
And he won't be throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes. So to me, I think it's a 0% chance it's Aaron Nolan. Obviously, McCord is gone. I think it's a transfer portal quarterback. He could say, we're bringing this guy in. We're bringing DJ Uiagalelei in to compete for the – stop it. You see the number, you're $1.5 to $2 million for a good quarterback in the transfer portal. Trust me, that money's not going to a quarterback to come in and compete for the job. Whoever they bring in out of the portal, Kev, to me is the starting quarterback. It's not Devin Brown. It's not Aaron Nolan. It's not Kyle Holes, wherever his name is. To me, I think whoever they bring in out of the portal, that's the starting QB in 2024.
Yeah, and like I said before, whoever the starting quarterback won't be throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr. He'll be in the NFL. Most likely, Emeka Egbuka will be in the NFL. Xavier Johnson might be in the NFL. He might be in medical school. He has a lot of options. Shouts out to Xavier Johnson. Won't be Julian Fleming. He's transferring out of Ohio State. Won't be handing the ball off to Travion Henderson. He'll be in the NFL. Won't be throwing passes to Cade Stover. He'll be in the NFL. Sensing the theme here? Sensing the theme here?
Another down year.
No, it's not going to be a down year because there's, Ennis, 5-star wide receiver, waiting to get his shot. Carnell Tate, 5-star receiver, waiting to get his shot. So Rogers, 4-star receiver, waiting to get his shot. Jaden Ballard, another 4-star receiver, waiting to get his shot. Look, Ohio State doesn't just sit there and just, oh, man, we got nobody there. They reload. And this situation with, Kyle McCord, a blip. Because all the other quarterbacks that Coach Day has got his hands on, first-round picks. So I'm pretty sure, and like you said, definitely is coaching for his job and coaching for everything else. Got to get it right. Got to get it right. Not only has to get it right, but that quarterback that he chooses to come in here has to accept coaching. He has to execute, and they have to hit the ground running because, like I said, not going to be throwing to Marv, not going to be throwing to Emeka, not going to be throwing to X, not going to be throwing to Julian Fleming, not going to be throwing to.
You think Emeka's gone? You think he's NFL?
Deuces.
Okay.
Deuces. We're out of here, bro. Out of those guys, maybe Emeka comes back, maybe, but the rest of them, I mean, X is a senior, so he can't come back. Cade's a senior, he can't come back. So, it's going to be an overhaul in the wide receiver room. But for me personally, offensive line. Let's scour the portal for some offensive linemen. And let's be clear, in the portal, I think it's obviously easier to find a wide receiver. It's the kids all over the place that play wide receiver. Smaller schools that come. What's the kid that went to North Carolina?
The guy that got the
waiver,
Tez Bryant or whatever.
Yeah. So he hit the ground running. He came from a small school. He's gonna be drafted as well. He's gonna be like a top 3-round pick in the NFL. So you can find those guys. I think it's super hard to find offensive linemen because when you do have an offensive lineman that's going to be drafted in the first 2 rounds, 9 times out of 10, that school is taking care of that offensive lineman because they know how precious an offensive lineman is to the product. So I'm not sure what we need to do coaching wise, not sure what we need to do portal wise, but not only will we need a quarterback, we're going to need some more competition in that offensive line room as well.
Yeah. There was talks, when you look at the defensive coordinator, why am I drawing a blank? Jim Knowles. Obviously he's coming back as a defensive coordinator. I think he needs another year. We saw the improvement from one year to the next. I'm still, while everyone focuses on the offensive struggles and what Kyle McCord did or did not do against Michigan, I still can't get over the fact that you have a defense that let Michigan score on every possession in the second half, except for one possession, which that possession was the victory formation. So, but that's no reason to run him off, but there's still work to be done. And I think the work that needs to be done there, it's in the trenches. But how many years in a row, I feel like we're Bengals fans now, talking about how many years in a row we keep talking about the toughness of the line. And the offensive line has nothing to do with Jim Knowles, but the toughness of the defensive line as well.
You think they played bad versus Michigan?
I think anytime you give up a score on every possession, yeah, I do. I don't think they played horrible, but considering the identity of the team was elite defense, run game, pass game last, and we're mad because Kyle McCord couldn't go win it for you. We haven't got to my Browns take yet, but that's why I was upset about the way they played yesterday. That's the best quarterback play they've gotten all damn season, which I know that standard is low, but they didn't bring in Joe Flacco to go win them football games. And it was up to Joe Flacco to win them the game yesterday because the defense didn't show up and they were getting scored on every damn drive. It's ticking me off. That was Ohio State against Michigan. When Kyle McCord was forced to win that game for you, that's why they were in trouble to me, because the identity of Ohio State was not Kyle McCord. It was that defense and run game. And the fact that they were struggling to run the ball, except for that one possession coming out of the half. Outside of that, they weren't running the ball well, and the defense couldn't get a stop. So now we put it on the shoulders of a guy that shouldn't have to be put in that position to be the guy to go win it because he's not as talented as CJ Stroud. Man, that's why I was so frustrated. I don't push the DC out, but
I think the defense played very well. I mean, you score going up against another good team, and to be able to hold them out the end zone as many times as they did, and their whole defense this year was basically bend but don't break. Keep everything in front of you and stuff like that, because last year versus Michigan, people want to talk about oh man, they got out physical, everything like that. And I know you can't do this, but if you take away those two long runs by Donovan Edwards, it was like a 85-yarder and a 75-yard run, the average 2-point yards a carry. Obviously, like I said before, can't take those runs away. Those runs happen, but they happen because they started run blitzing and they refused to do that. And it basically, for lack of a better word, worked. I know they scored, but they didn't score touchdowns. And I think in today's football, when you keep a team out of the end zone, I think that's a win. Obviously, you will want the ball back earlier than 7 minutes, them draining 7 minutes off the clock. Not going to argue with you about that. You're absolutely right. Definitely could have got the ball back maybe at 1:45 would have been nice. But they were there. They got the ball with exactly a minute on the clock, and they were at the 35-yard line before the interception situation. So they were right there. I think the defense played pretty dang on good. But I mean, that's us arguing about the minute details.
Well, yeah, and the problem was too. I mean, they that drive down the field and all that. 1 minute exactly left on the clock. But when Michigan got the ball back, when Ohio State had to punt that, and there was almost 6 minutes left.
No, they scored a touchdown.
Duh. They did not punt. Gee, I just got that said. So they scored the touchdown with 5 minutes to go. You're like, 8
minutes to go.
So when Ohio State got the ball, or they gave the ball back, and Michigan gets the ball with
8 minutes. They got the ball back with 8 minutes exactly on the clock.
And they get the ball back with 1 minute.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
Yeah, that's 7 minutes. That was crucial, no doubt about it.
And that was death by a million paper cuts, because it would be 3rd and short, they'd get it.
Yeah.
3rd and short, they'd get it. It was just they weren't big plays. So the improvement, yes, is there, but it's you still got to get off the field. But that's Michigan's talent versus Ohio State.
Yeah, you run blitz in that situation, you run the risk of them popping a 50-yard run, and then now you're down 2 scores as opposed to 1 score. The whole situation, hey, man, we just got to get them off the field. And I truly believe, and especially in college football, a minute is an eternity. I mean, you saw they were right there in scoring range in the 2 passes.
It's a joke, but no.
2 right there. They hit Mar for a 30-yarder and then hit Julian for another 25-yarder. They were right there, but so close, but so far.
NFL tonight, Cincinnati Bengals, Jags, Monday Night Football. This is not the matchup everyone got really excited about, of course, because everyone really wanted to see Joe Burrow against Trevor Lawrence. It's now not the case. Cincinnati mathematically still in the playoff. We talked about last week, Bengals fans, I believe, but there's more Joe Burrow fans than Bengals fans. It doesn't feel like the Bengals play tonight. If Joe Burrow was healthy, trust me, we would know that the Bengals are playing on Monday Night Football tonight. There are more people that care about Florida State that are Bengals fans in this chat. They don't want to talk about the reality of the Bengals potentially losing tonight, Monday Night Football. But yes, the AFC North, just the quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett's out for multiple weeks. He had surgery today.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, I'm not making a joke about an injury, but addition by subtraction. Who Mitch Trubisky is at the start? No, it's McSwirly, Trace McSwirly.
They just signed him. They just signed him. Yeah.
So is it Trubisky?
Yeah, it's gonna be Trubisky on Thursday versus the Pats.
Man, the AFC, all the
And
starters.
just think about I won't say stranglehold, because obviously the Ravens about to have a super stranglehold on the division next week if they can win their game. But you lose this game to the Cardinals, talking about the Steelers that, you know what I'm saying, they were 2 and something or whatever. You lose that game. The Browns lose their game. So you could have had a bigger lead on the Cleveland Browns. And now, not only that, talking from the Steelers' perspective, the Texans won again. The Texans hold the tiebreaker over the Steelers. So the whole to talk about oh man, the offense is fixed. They're going to be able to make the playoffs. Offense looked great until Kenny Pickett broke his leg or whatever the heck happened with his ankle. They were looking great until Trubisky had to show
up. Great. Oof.
According to what I read.
Oh, because you didn't watch. Okay.
I did not watch.
The defense too, letting the Cardinal. So that's not fair.
They had a 99-yard touchdown drive, I read.
The defense letting the Cardinals and Kyler Murray run all over. That was
disheartening.
So
heard it was a lot of rain delays, all that type of stuff.
It's an ugly game. The Browns, Joe Flacco, I said they'd win by 10. Was wrong, obviously.
Ooh.
However, I still feel pretty good but this is what's annoying. The reason I said the Browns win by 10 with Joe Flacco at quarterback over the Rams is because that is based on the model for the Browns to win, and that's for their elite defense to be elite. And they weren't elite yesterday. Matthew Stafford, between Cooper Kupp and the rookie, I can't think of it, Nakua, I think his name, I'm getting it wrong. They diced up the Browns defense. I mean, I know Myles Garrett. And by the way, I don't want no excuses about that because his shoulder's banged up. Guess what? Structural damage. That shoulder's going to be just as banged up next week and the week after, maybe even more. So that's my concern. That's how dominant he is, that he has a 50% game and the cornerbacks can't even stop anybody. Now, again, yes, because they couldn't get to the quarterback. I mean, Matthew Stafford had all damn day. Bottom line is they have a chance to make the playoffs to go on a deep playoff run with Joe Flacco if the defense is elite. Because Joe Flacco was not brought in to be Joe Burrow, although, the way he threw the ball yesterday, the Browns have the best Joe in the AFC North right now. How about that? But they didn't bring him in to be the superstar quarterback to lead them to anything. Come in, be better than DTR, get the ball to the open wide receivers, let the defense continue. But then they get him in, they get the best quarterback. I think they got the best 1 through 4 quarter quarterback play. And then the defense lets it down. They all the games they've lost, they beat the Steelers in week 2, which I still owe you a beer for. Yeah. They beat the Steelers. If Joe Flacco plays that way in week 2, they win that game, right? If Joe Flacco plays the way he did against all the losses that the Browns have had, they win some of those games. Joe Flacco played great yesterday. I was actually amazed at how great he played yesterday. The throws he was making, the way he zipped it into some spots. I know that interception late, whatever, the punt, I didn't really like that. But the bottom line is Joe Flacco, he shouldn't have to come in to be Joe Burrow to win for this Browns team. They've almost won ugly games with DTR at quarterback. He played way better than DTR. Then you got Kevin Stefanski not committing to him afterwards. Kev, I'm telling you right now, I will quit. You quit in college football, I'll quit the GD NFL if he is stupid enough to put DTR. If DTR starts, it better be because Joe Flacco's leg is snapped like every other damn injured quarterback out there. I'm telling you, Kev, if they screw around and put DTR back out there next week, I am done. I will rip the Browns. I will give Who Days. I'll buy a Bengals jersey.
Will I get my beer?
If you'll get I'll give you 2 things. If DTR is the starting quarterback for the Browns on Sunday over a healthy Joe Flacco, I am done with the Cleveland Browns. I promise you. That Kevin Stefanski, not coach of the year, idiot of the year if you start DTR over Joe Flacco. I don't know how you could look at that yesterday and not commit to Joe Flacco after that. That was silly and ridiculous. That's what an adult quarterback looks like. Joe Flacco, baby. I can't believe I'm a Joe Flacco fan all of a sudden, but that's where I'm at.
So the wife, she's a Browns fan. She's in the living room watching the game while I'm in the bedroom watching God knows what, because I was soaking in my sorrows. But I hear screaming, GDing all over the place. Tackle him. Get him. How's he open again? And I was like, let me guess. They're running man-to-man. Yeah. It's like going up against Stafford man-to-man, all they're going to do is run pick plays the entire day. And that I didn't see the highlights, but I'm assuming that's what they did. Like, I'm sure they were running stack formations, running drag routes, corner post routes, and stuff like that because you run man-to-man. The Browns refuse to run any type of zone coverage because they got really good corners. But
when Denzel Ward's out there, when he's not out there, they're not good with Newsome and Emerson. They're not good enough with just those two other. When he's out and Garrett's not getting to the quarterback, all of a sudden the game looks very slow. Their defense looks very slow, and Stafford picked him apart. And they got, to their credit, that pressure's coming. Get rid of the ball quick.
Yeah.
Get rid of the ball quick.
And that's why you have to start running some type of zone defense. So like early in the season, like when they out here old schooling it, press man coverage, like that works until teams make adjustment and they start running man beaters to beat that type of stuff and running bunch formation so you can get confused. So it's that. And also I'm pretty sure Kansas City is enjoying Cook as opposed to Thornhill right about now.
They are. Aren't they?
I think so.
I think so. I mean, and Thornhill's pretty damn good too. He's out, but he's pretty dang good. As far as that goes, no doubt about that. But the Bengals in action tonight, Monday Night Football. Again, they're still in the playoff hunt mathematically, but the Browns, Kev, 36-19. The Browns, of course, they had a chance to tie it at 20. It would have been 20-20, and they missed the extra point after the broadcasters, Sanchez, just bragging about the kicker. I'm like, don't bring up the kicker. Don't bring up the free throw shooter. Bam, misses it. And then they score 14 points like that. Big plays right off the bat. But like I said, Joe Flacco, 23 of 44, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the pick. 254. Kev, he could have thrown for well over 300. Amari Cooper had so many drops. I mean, so many drops yesterday. It was ticking me off how many drops he had. Now he might be out too. So Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb, Deshaun Watson, half the O-line. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Kev, make those damn catches. The Browns lead the league in drop catches. Like, what is happening? What is going on?
Curse of OBJ.
They finally get a quarterback that is playing at a decent level for them, and then the receivers wide open, dropping it left and right. The defense can't get a stop. I was so ticked off and happy yesterday because I'm like, well, if the defense plays like they have all season and you get that type of play from Joe Flacco with the easiest schedule in football remaining, yes, the Browns have a very, very good shot of not just getting to the playoffs. What happened? Want
to play a game?
Let's play a game. Oh, let's hold up. Let's play a game.
Florida State is
no, hold on.
Florida State.
No, I ruined it. Back to back. Let's just play a game. Boring game with only generic music in the background.
My heart hurts.
I messed up your game thing. I have to go re-find it.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so adjusted win total for your beloved Cleveland Browns. They are currently 7-5. Next week, home versus the Jags. Win or loss?
With if the defense plays the way they're supposed to, and with Joe Flacco playing like that, no doubt Browns easy.
Following week, Shot-Town, the Bears.
By the way, I shouldn't say easy. Jacksonville's pretty good, but I still picked that. They beat Chicago, same thing.
At Houston.
That's a toss. I'm gonna go
on Christmas Eve.
Houston's good. I'm gonna go with, but it'll be a close one. But I'm gonna go with Houston. CJ Stroud playing lights out. I'll go with Houston in that one.
At home versus the Jets.
Now that we know Aaron Rodgers ain't coming back at all, as if that was going to matter too much. But I'm going with the Browns over the Jets.
Closing the season out versus
Browns.
Cincinnati Bengals.
The Bengals are horrible. And even if they had Joe Burrow, they're still horrible. No, that's not true. They have Joe Burrow. They're good, but they're horrible without him. Their defense is horrible. They have no run game. And, right now everyone's focused on the offseason. Everyone, the most loyal fan base in football, they've moved on to next year. So there's that. You got Doug Toby, a Bengals fan, putting a bell in the chat. I ain't making excuses. I'm criticizing my team. Their defense, they stunk yesterday. That wasn't an excuse. Oh, they lost because the defense played bad. That's not an excuse. That's literally the reason.
So you got them going 11-6.
Yeah. Okay. DTR, play that same game with DTR. They're not beating Jacksonville. They're not beating Houston. They'll beat. I guess they would go 3-2 over the next 5, so that still put them at 10 wins. But I think that one additional win is because of Flacco. I actually think with Flacco, you didn't watch it yesterday, right?
No.
If you do watch it with Flacco,
I won't.
It looks different. It looks different.
Look at you, a Flacco fan. After all those years of bashing Flacco, look at you.
But Kev, it was just nice. DTR drops back and just doesn't even throw it away, takes the sack. DTR is learning how to play football. The Browns don't have time for that. Joe Flacco, it was so nice watching a QB at the very least kept throw it away. He threw it away. oh, pressure's coming. I don't know. Do I take the sack and take a loss of 15, or do I, use my brain and throw it away? He throws it away. And the way he, and the way he zipped it into tight spaces, too, was able to make some difficult throws. Yes, you guys, you are Bengals fans. You're spoiled with your Joe Burrow play. I'm not, okay? The only good quarterback play I ever see is whoever the hell the Browns are playing half the time. So I was beyond impressed with Joe Flacco yesterday. But Amari Cooper has to be healthy, has to catch the damn ball when it's in his hands. He dropped some stupid easy ones yesterday. Beyond frustrating. So there's that. All right, it's Kenner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Who day? By the way, Bengals, Jags, who wins tonight? Well, let me see that line in that real quick. But I think the Bengals are not favored. I don't see why they would be. Let's see. Jackson, Jesus. Do you know the line for that?
I do not.
What do you think the line is?
6.5.
Jacksonville's a 10-point favorite at home.
Damn.
Bengals are bad, man. They're not good. I mean, Joe Burrow plays. I think Jacksonville's still a 3-point. I think Joe Burrow's at least a touchdown difference.
A full dime?
At least a field goal, but 10-point favorite is Jacksonville. Jags win?
Yeah. Duval. Even though they do have a losing record at home.
8-3, man. Interesting. Playoff picture, last thing on the way out before we take a break in the action. Playoff picture looks like this. If the playoffs started today, what's wild, as bad as the AFC North looks right now, if the playoffs started today, 3 AFC North teams in.
We in there.
Dolphins. Are the Dolphins for real? What up, Brad? Are Brad's Dolphins for real? They're 9-3. They win the tiebreak. I mean, they're the 1 seed right now. They are the number 1 seed in the AFC right now, as we currently sit.
Really?
Yeah.
Thought Baltimore was.
Baltimore and the Dolphins are 9-3. They win the tiebreaker for Baltimore based on the best win percentage in conference games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because their path is a lot easier. Their path is easier than Baltimore's or Kansas City's.
And it's Baltimore at 2, Jacksonville at 3, Kansas City at 4. I think the AFC is very weak right now. If Kansas City, I mean, Denver losing. If Denver would have won yesterday with Kansas City losing, I would say look out for Denver in that division. But the Chargers are garbage. I don't know what the heck is happening there. I mean, that's
6
just
points, baby.
Bad coaching. I know once a flyer, always a flyer until they struggle. Then you guys don't want to claim him. I see no flyer. I mean, no flyers defending old Staley over there. Nor should they.
Man.
Nor should they.
They won, though.
That's
6-0.
See, but that's an example right there of the NFL. That win matters. But in college,
6-0.
In college, they would say you're going to go D2 for a year. You're going to go D2 for a year, Florida State. That's the reality of it. But no, so 1, 2, and 3 seeds: Dolphins, Ravens, Jags, and Chiefs at 4. The Steelers are the first. They're the first wild card team right there at number 5 at 7-5. A lot of 7-5s. Kev. Browns at the 6th seed, 7-5, and then the Colts. They hold the tiebreaker over Houston based on the head-to-head win percentage. All right, so the head-to-head got them there. But the Colts have the 7th seed, 7-5. That's pretty wild to me. I can't stand the Colts. Their owner is a weirdo, but they keep winning. Good for them. They're supposed to be bad this year. They're supposed to be atrocious. They're 7-5, finding ways to win games. So, Doug Toby says, what about Kev's team? Do they stink? Kev's team, first of all, is significantly better than your stinky Bengals team. No, that's like, what are we doing? I don't like your offense. Your offense is atrocious. So is the Browns at times, right? But the defense is freaking good. The Bengals, what do you have to hang your hat on? You have nothing. You can't run the ball. You can't stop anybody, and you can't score points with Joe Burrow out. You're one-dimensional. It's as simple as that. I don't know why you're having to challenge me on that. Anyway.
All right, let's play another game.
Let's play another game.
We already did it with the Cleveland Browns. You got the Browns finishing 11-6 overall. Steelers. All right, Steelers are also 7-5.
Can I reverse this and let you play the game?
Go for it.
You know what I mean? Because I'm biased, and I'm being biased in my Browns picks. Obviously, I'm confident, but I don't want to not pick your team in the rest of the season. That'd just be disrespectful. You can't kick a man while he's down. You're upset about Florida State. All right, Kev, so we're playing your game.
Yeah, let's play a game.
So they're 7-5. They have the 5 seed right now. They got New England coming up.
Win.
So that's 8-5. The Colts at the Colts.
Loss.
8-6. Cincinnati.
Win.
All right, I like that. That's 9-6 now.
Yep.
All right. At Seattle.
Loss.
At Baltimore.
Win, because Baltimore is going to have the division wrapped up, and they'll be resting Mr. Lamar Demetrius Jackson Jr.
Real quick, so you're that confident in Baltimore running away with that?
Yeah, man, it's over. Like, come on, look what all these teams are rolling out there. Like, to take your point about the Cincinnati Bengals and all the quarterbacks in the division getting hurt when they won, Now it's the Ravens' turn to take advantage of that. Like, hey, no
Valid.
Deshaun, no Joe, no Kenny. For what it's worth, we're gonna go ahead and run away with it. Plus, if they win and the Dolphins win, I win $50 on FanDuel.
I agree with the Ravens, who have been on the opposite end. So the Bengals have. By the way, Bengals fans ripping the Ravens on Twitter, saying, "Oh, you're benefiting from the injuries or whatever." That's very rich and ironic coming from Bengals fans who, by the way, they've been very good the last 2 years, but they've benefited winning the division from no competition because the Browns is the Browns. The Steelers have been trying to figure out what to do at quarterback, and the Ravens, they've been the first place team heading into December for the last 2 years until Lamar goes out, and then they go from first to last or first to wild card. But Kev, this schedule is pretty tough.
Yeah, I just pulled it up.
That was my counterpoint to you. I'll let you roll through it. It's brutal. The Rams is not an easy game. I'm saying that because they just beat the Browns, but they're actually playing they've won 4 straight. They're playing their best football.
The benefit to that is the Rams are at Baltimore, but they travel to Jacksonville, then they travel to the 49ers, and then that huge matchup between them and the Dolphins, then the Steelers. So with that, yeah, that's crazy. So I'll flip that, and I'll say that's a loss for the Steelers. I'll say that's a loss because I think they'll need that game.
And that's why I agree with you on that.
So
right
I got
there.
them finishing 2-3 down the stretch.
And I think a lot of it has to do with, okay, Joe Flacco comes in for the Browns, so they keep winning. They have the easiest schedule in football left. I think they're going to 3-2 is realistic to finish out, to put them at 10 wins. Even though the Ravens will have more than 10 wins, you're only talking about an 11-win team. They're the favorite to win the division, but you can't just take the week 17 off.
Right.
With the Browns playing, especially playing the Bengals, a bad Bengals team. Well, they're playing a Steelers team who might be out of it too. So, yeah, this is going to be an exciting finish to the AFC North season. Both teams, the Browns, Steelers, still mathematically in it, as is the Bengals. The Bengals are done. They don't have a shot. Browns, Steelers still have a shot. Not just mathematically, but just because the talent's still there. But Trubisky, why didn't teams go after Flacco? Like Flacco, your team with Flacco, I'm shocked they didn't. I think Flacco, if the Steelers would have got him before the Browns, Steelers probably win this division, in my opinion. And are you concerned at all with the drama going on with your receivers? What's happening there? Another Antonio Brown situation?
No, this is nothing close to Antonio Brown.
Worse?
Worse. Not even close. And let's be clear, Antonio Brown's a Hall of Fame wide receiver. If they were giving Antonio Brown type of production, we would put up with it, but they're not. I mean, this is a bunch of young guys. I mean, he celebrated it after the touchdown. Whoop-de-whoop. Yeah, we're losing. Whoop that. Read the room after a week, 2 weeks ago, not going after a fumble. Blah.
What about, last thing on the way out here, keep saying that, having fun today. I figured we needed to get
that makes one of us.
We needed to get that college football. Hanging out with me that bad, Kev. I mean, I left you alone yesterday. I didn't even bother
having to talk about it.
Doug Toby says, everybody thinks the 49ers are world beaters. What did my Bengals do? Oh, my gosh, that's the other thing. So everybody thinks the 49ers are world beaters. What did my Bengals do to the 49ers in San Fran? Cincinnati claimed fame this year. Well, look, teams go through stretches where they're not playing very well. And the Niners also weren't fully healthy. Not that anyone needs to feel bad for them in that position, but that's not an excuse. That's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also, I'm here to tell you right now, as much as I'm not as much of a Browns homer as Doug Toby is a Bengals homer. I'm here to tell you, if the Niners and Browns played this weekend, Kev, Browns, even with Flacco, I'm not picking them to beat the Niners. That's how good the Niners are. So, yeah. And by the way, yes, the Bengals, they were a Cinderella team that beat them that week, just like the Browns were. But I'm telling you, worst defense in the league and can't run the football. What are we doing here? That's the Cincinnati Bengals. Damon Hahn says Flacco's problem has been that he is a statue, still has good arm talent, but they may get smoked when they get more tape. But just hit the open wide receivers. Browns defense just needs to continue getting stops. Hit the open wide receivers. And open wide receivers, catch the GD football. Just simple as that. All right, the NFC, Kev, last thing on the way out. The NFC playoff picture. The Eagles now 10-2. They just signed Butler today, or no, Lloyd, who the receiver?
Linebacker.
I'm drawing a blank. That's going to drive me nuts. I can't think of his name right off the bat, but either way, Shaquille Leonard. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. But good for them. Being aggressive mid-season, going after adding a player. Who would have thunk it? The Niners, number 2, 9-3. The Lions, 9-3 at 3. The Falcons sitting atop that weak division, but they're number 4 in the NFC. How about that?
Look at that.
Cowboys playing good football. They're coming at number 5. The Vikings, 6-6. How about the Packers? Is Jordan Love? Did the Packers just get lucky? Not lucky, but did they just fleece everyone again, going from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers? Is Jordan Love for real?
It started out good and took a dip to real bad territory. Now it's starting to go back to the good side. Now he's got, once they, like he just said, get tape, he started to play bad. Now they're making the adjustment. Now he's getting good again. So if they've gone 3 in a row, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose my mind.
That's something.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think what the Packers do is probably the right model. It's just not the way football works today. You have a starting quarterback, you draft his replacement, you let him sit for a few years. That's not how football works anymore. It just doesn't work that way. But Kevin, it does work that way. It's working.
It might work this way. Like if they're able to squeak into the playoffs, and he continues to play good football. I mean, shoot, that game, like I said, I didn't watch the game, but I looked at the stats and stuff like that. I mean, Kansas City has one of the best defenses in the league. Super young defense, but they play some good ball on that side of the ball. And Kansas City's being carried by the defense this year. He carved them up. He did his thing. And, if they get 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in a row, man, I'm going to cry.
That's painful. That's painful. What's going on with the Seahawks? That was my team to win. That was my dark horse team this year. I love the roster makeup. I love the receivers. Love the defense. I love they got Witherspoon from Illinois. I was like, man, they got Jackson Smith and Jigba to go with their, with Lockett and with DK. What do you do that you're 6-6? You could try to compete to be knocked out early in the wild card, or do you just tank it the rest of the way and go get a damn quarterback?
They play good ball on Thursday versus the Cowboys. Metcalf was out there balling like crazy, but who else was balling? Dak was. Dak was doing his thing. Dak was willing and dealing. As I'm the Seahawks, I'm still trying to be in it. I mean, they're there to make a wild card run. And I mean, shoot, if they tank the rest of the season, how many different draft picks is that going to be? Like drop you down like 2 or 3 spots? If you really want somebody, you can trade the capital to go get them.
All right. Last but not least, Ohio State basketball. They're not ranked still. How are they not ranked? Kev, they're legitimate, legit. I don't understand. They win that invitational or whatever that was over the holiday break. They took care of business against Minnesota yesterday.
Minnesota.
I thought for sure when those came out today,
Big Ten win.
Is basketball that deep right now that it's that tough to get ranked? I mean, they got their guards are just unreal right now. The way they've taken steps from their freshman to sophomore year, like Chris Holtman. Again, I think people are tired of seeing him win in November, December, though. I guess this stuff has to happen. But you mentioned the Big Ten win. That's huge. That has to be a thing. But, man, wild that Ohio State, they're just victims in everything. Ohio against the world. Ohio against the world, nonetheless. I did not know that the reason that Michigan's I didn't know he had heart surgery. Or that he had surgery, and that's why I thought he was suspended. I didn't know that he had
surgery. Juwan Howard
had
surgery? Oh,
yeah.
Didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I'm not trying to be like, this is not anti-Michigan, because I was actually ticked. Michigan basketball coaches usually make me like Michigan, and I hate that. But I didn't know. I kept wondering why Phil Martelli was the head coach for Michigan all this time, and that's why.
Did not know that.
All right. I'll step away for a few. I'm in a chatty mood. You're not. I'm trying to see how long I do this segment before you say, Kinner, shut the hell up and go to a commercial break.
Don't worry.
You know what we are, though?
What?
We are the #1 rated sports talk show here in the city of Dayton.
Look at that. 2 kids just playing on the radio.
I heard someone say one time, what competition? I agree. What competition? The Kinner and Kev Show, the #1 rated afternoon sports talk show here in the Miami Valley. If you're interested in being a sponsor on the #1 rated sports talk show here in the Miami Valley, you could text us 518-1410. We have quite a few sponsors that have jumped on because all they did was text 518-1410 and said, hey, we're interested in being a sponsor of the #1 rated sports talk show here in the Miami Valley. And we've got them hooked up. So that's all that matters. So be next. That's all we ask. Be next. We'll be right back.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Well, the forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies, a chance of snow flurries, and 31 tonight. Rain, snow mix, and 41 tomorrow. Wednesday, it's partly sunny and a high of 42. I'm Rick Schrepp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
Hi, it's Keith Byers, Hall of Fame running back for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Nothing beats watching college football while enjoying juicy, tender chicken strips. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken is launching the Buckeye Box to satisfy your hunger. For just $8.99, you get 4 delicious chicken strips, fresh cut potato wedges, and 2 mouth-watering dipping sauces. Stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken today to get your Buckeye Box. Only at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
Now's the time to get a great deal on Kubota construction equipment, featuring durable Kubota engines, more comfort, more productivity, more get it done right. The Kubota construction lineup shows up ready to work every day. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 36 months. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see our full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check us out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
Are you sexually active? Do you have multiple sex partners? You and your partners may be at risk for syphilis. Public Health Dayton and Montgomery County reminds you that syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease that, if left untreated, may cause serious health effects. To protect yourself, have sex with one person who's only having sex with you. And always use condoms. Protect yourself and your partner. Get tested for syphilis today. Visit STIFacts.org for more information.
'Tis the season to be hungry at Roosters. That's why for every $50 spent on Roosters gift cards, you'll receive a $10 Rooster Buck back in your stocking. May your holidays be filled with friends and family, love and laughter, and of course, Roosters Wings. Go to roosterswings.com today or drop by any Roosters location to purchase your $50 holiday gift cards and receive a $10 Rooster Buck in return. Happy holidays from all of us at Roosters. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
By now, you should know Audio Etc. has all the same sales and deals on TVs and projectors as everyone else. But did you know we also have some of the world's best hi-fi? Hi, this is Kirby from Audio Etc. And we do have some of the best home theater, high-fidelity gear on the planet. Not only do we have your favorite brands like Clip speakers and SVS subwoofers, but audiophile greats from Bowers & Wilkins, Kef, NAD, Marantz, Cambridge, Mark Levinson, and plenty of vinyl and tube gear. Plus exotics you only see in the magazines. Stop by today and visit Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom and see and audition the best audio and video has to offer. While you're in, check out our huge selection of pre-owned vintage gear. A great way to afford great gear otherwise out of reach, or revisit old classics. Audio Etc. Sound advice you can trust. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Save big every day during Lowe's 25 Days of Deals. Shop daily deals for the whole home. Lowe's 25 Days of Deals.
O'Reilly. Does your vehicle have over 75,000 miles? Get maximum high mileage engine protection with Syntec Full Synthetic High Mileage Motor Oil exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec High Mileage and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $34.99. Limit supply. Ask for Syntec High Mileage at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This time of year, big box tool stores start to sell a whole bunch of not tools, from dancing Santas to plastic trees. At Northern Tool and Equipment, we'd rather sell you a 4-horsepower chainsaw fitted with a full chisel chain to cut down your own tree. And we have wood chippers come January, because you know, mulch. We're cutting prices on your favorite brands this holiday season. Save on Milwaukee, Steel, and Lincoln Electric in-store or at northerntool.com.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well, no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Make an appointment and, you're already on it.
Hi, yes, I'd like to make an appointment.
Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, this is Travis Kelce, NFL tight end and proud member of the Lowe's home team. Lowe's knows when you've got the best price, you've already won. That's why we offer the lowest price guarantee. If you find a better price online or in-store, we'll match it. Now you can score on the top brands from the Lowe's home team picks, like Scotts, LG, and DeWalt. So take on your projects with confidence. Lowe's is the exclusive home improvement retail partner of the NFL.
Price match applies to same item, current price of qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
We are racing at Hollywood Dayton Raceway. Catch the excitement this Saturday. Post time is 4 p.m. Be there this Saturday night for TVs and tickets. You could win one of 5 prize packs that include a big screen television, 2 tickets to a baseball game, and a Roku stick with a subscription to Racetrack Television. That's this Saturday at Hollywood Dayton Raceway. Post time is 4 p.m. Horses, racing, and winners at Hollywood Dayton Raceway.
Hungry for a great time? Maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits. Submarine House.
Expand your tool set with professional power tools from Menards. Metabo represents the gold standard in nailers and cordless power tools. Whether you're at home or on the job site, tackle any building project with Metabo. Power tools make great gifts. Grab the cordless 18-gauge brad nailer, ideal for trim work and molding installation, now on sale for $199.99. Sale price good through December 11th. Plus, a Menards gift card is always a great gift idea.
Season's greetings to you all from Menards.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We only have a couple more minutes remaining in the program today. But yeah, so Ohio State, we all know Ohio State's playing Missouri and the Cotton Bowl. Man, we talked about this a little bit ago. I would not be surprised. Like we talk all the time about the fact that players opt out of these games, but how long before we see teams opt out? Like if there was ever a bowl game for Ohio State to opt out of, it would be this one. It would be like when Michigan was afraid a few years ago and they opted out of the Ohio State game, except that was an actual game. But hey, they haven't lost to Ohio State since then, so kudos. But how long before we start seeing teams opt out of meaningless bowl games the way we see teams opt out of the NIT? I mean, wasn't the Dayton Flyers, didn't they opt out of the NIT recently? Like they just felt they were too good for the NIT. Like, right? Like, I mean, didn't that happen? Like teams that, they feel like they're too good. Like this meaningless bowl game, Ohio State has so much more to lose against Missouri than to win. And right now with how cutthroat everyone is being, we're not going to put into account that their starting quarterback has entered the transfer portal. We won't put into account that Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't going to play, that Trevion Henderson probably won't play, that Julian Fleming, who's entered the transfer portal, he won't be there. If Emeka Egbuka declares for the NFL draft, there's no point in him playing. And that's the offense that wasn't elite, wasn't bad, but was just good enough to be undefeated heading into that matchup against Michigan to close out the regular season. So what I'm concerned about is Ohio State and fans not being intelligent enough to comprehend that if they lose that game, why they're losing that game. We'll do this whole, it's Missouri. You're expected to beat Missouri. It doesn't matter who's out there. Be that as it may, it will be an opportunity for Ohio State to go out there with Ennis and with some of these fresh faces, new players. If I'm them, I go out there and I play, is it Kyle Holes, Keel Holes? I'm so sorry. I should know the name of the dang quarterback. That's on me 100%. I'll, whatever. Go out there with him. I don't want to see Devin Brown start. Maybe Ryan Day goes with Devin Brown because he has the experience and all that type of stuff, possibly. I don't really know. All I know is how long before teams start opting out of these meaningless bowl games, especially with the portal. Can you imagine week 17, the regular season comes to a close in the NFL, and we're talking about playoff games that weekend, but free agency starts. And now teams who are trying to focus on the playoffs that weekend are now focused about, well, crap, man, we need to get a wide receiver for next year. We're good for right now, but man, we really need to get in line for that, like distraction, right? Like that's the problem. And that's the concern that I have as far as I'm concerned. If I'm Ohio State, I'm not advocating for them to opt out of this bowl game with Missouri, but if it did come down to that, I would support it. I would support Ohio State if they opted out. Now you could say that's a coward approach and all that type of stuff. Maybe, but also good business. It's not good business for Ohio State to go lose another game because their entire team entered the transfer portal or is going to the draft and they're opting out of the bowl game. The players are telling you it's meaningless to play in this. Why go out there if that's the case? Ryan Day's job's on the line. I don't want to see Ohio State lose to Missouri. I definitely don't want to see them. I don't want to see them lose to Missouri if they're all healthy. Losing to them in a meaningless bowl game is painful, but I don't want to see them lose to Missouri because their starting quarterback, both their star wide receivers and their star running back all opt out because, they've declared for the draft and some have entered the portal. Ohio State has way more to lose than to gain playing in this game. Winning does nothing. It just doesn't. You win a meaningless bowl game. It doesn't mean anything. Buckeye fans, how many Buckeye fans are actually, there'll be Ohio State fans that go and support Ohio State. That's what they do. But is the Cotton Bowl ticket, is that a hot ticket? Are you guys checking flights? Are you guys getting your tickets, booking your hotels? Are you guys getting ready? OH, baby? I don't think so. It's a meaningless game. More to lose than to win. Really nothing to win. The game. You take a win into the offseason, I guess. But, is anyone going to feel better about losing to Michigan because you followed it up with a win over a meaningless Missouri team heading into the offseason? Missouri, they have everything to win. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, not advocating for Ohio State to opt out of this bowl game. And I don't think that's going to be the case, but it would not surprise me if we get to the point where teams start opting out of these bowl games. What's the point? It's all for the sponsors and for college, for them to make money. There's no point. None. If I'm Ryan Day, I wouldn't blame him one bit if he chucks up the deuces and says, see you guys in 2024. Well, technically, it would be 2024, but you see my point. Until tomorrow, it's been the Kinner and Kev Show, Dayton's #1 rated sports talk show in the afternoons, of course, so we appreciate all of that. The listeners in town have a choice. They pick us. We appreciate that, so thank you. Real quick, Chris Rayburn says, amazing how obvious it is that there are levels to this. Chris, what are the levels? I'm not trying to argue with you. I mean, what do you mean? What levels are we talking about? Like, what? About Ohio State? Like I said, I'm just throwing out the concept of it. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. If the levels you're talking about are to the decision making of when to opt out, there are plenty of levels to this. There's lots of layers to this. Ohio State opting out of this bowl game would make a ton of sense. Imagine losing to Missouri, regardless of the reasons. If they lose to Missouri because, well, no Marvin Harrison, no Ibuka, no Trevion Henderson, your starting quarterbacks enter the portal, and from the sounds of it, if Devin Brown, who couldn't beat out Kyle McCord, how much better is Devin Brown going to be as the starting quarterback to begin with in a meaningless bowl game against Missouri? Like, I don't know what you mean by that, Chris. I'm going to pick up with this topic on tomorrow's show, but I am curious what you mean by that. That's all. I'm not trying to argue with you. Chris Rayburn says, teams like Missouri, this would be a program-changing win. Oh, no doubt. I said this earlier. Missouri cares about this. Ohio State doesn't. I mean, a win over Missouri means nothing. A win over Ohio State means something for Missouri, but I'm also here to tell you, if you beat Ohio State with no Kyle McCord, with no Marvin Harrison, with no Emeka Ibuka, with no Trevion Henderson, Julian Fleming, your top 3 wide receivers are not going to play in this meaningless bowl game, Chris. I don't understand how that would be a changing game. Missouri's in the SEC. If they beat Ohio State without any of their star players, I don't know how that's a program-defining win. I know what you're saying. If Ohio State's completely healthy and there's Marvin Harrison and Ibuka, I am with you 100%, Chris. Like, yeah, that's a big deal. But I don't know how much beating up on a not really Ohio State team is, and vice versa. That's all. But we'll pick up with this tomorrow. Chris Rayburn says, SEC fans want any reason to bash the Big Ten. No doubt. That's why I'm saying it's so much to lose if you're Ohio State, because if you lose this game, there will be no one giving you the benefit of the doubt. Anyways. All right, guys, have a great night until next week. Or to next week. It's a Monday. I'm losing my mind. Case of the Mondays. Until tomorrow. All right, it's Kinner and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Have a good night, everybody.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on audio.